Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show on the official first day of the NFL offseason. Congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs, and it is offseason time, baby. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. How you guys feeling?
Feeling good, feeling great, feeling all right, feeling a little sad, feeling way more sad.
What is this, slam poetry? Feeling a little way more sad.
Feeling great, feeling good, feeling sad, feeling a little more sad, feeling remorseful, feeling hopeful, feeling lost.
The name of that poem is Bud Light Remembrance.
Bud Light Remembrance.
Yesterday was the Bud Light Holocaust where I was hanging out, dude. It was
I could hear it in your voice, Coop. I could hear it.
It was a bad day to be a Bud Light, man. I only had a few. Bud Lights probably stay up at night, like terrified of my buddy Meat Mansion.
Shaking in their boots.
They just see him coming down the hallway wearing his bad boy pants, just ready to make a scene, dude.
He's got bad boy pants. What do bad pants look like?
Bad. My buddy, he does call his pants his bad boy pants. That's a pair of really ripped jeans he has, and he wears shorts underneath that you can see through the rips. So that's when you know it's about to go down. When Meat Mansion's in his town wearing his bad boy pants.
I see NKC in the chat. Eagles
what
fan
up, NKC?
Unhappy about the result of that game. I get it. And see, Chiefs cheated. No congratulations. I'm sure we're going to talk quite a bit about some of the calls and stuff during that game today. We'll probably have a conversation about it. But regardless, the Chiefs didn't cheat, even if you're upset about the calls that the refs made. It could be bad officiating, but man, sorry, NKC. It's a rough way to end the season, but that team, the Eagles team that's been built there, is going to be good for a long time. You kept saying that all weekend, JL. This Eagles team isn't a one and done. This doesn't feel like this was their only chance, right? Like they're set up to stay good.
Oh yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back for sure.
NKC says, yes, they did. Tell us how they cheated. Everybody out there listening, now is the time to air your grievances. We're going to talk Super Bowl, then we'll move on to the offseason. We want to know. Let us know what you thought about the game. Did you enjoy it? Are you happy that you got that reason to bitch about the refs that you were quietly hoping to get? Let us know what you guys think in the chat.
Craig in here saying, morning, fun game, right call, but bummer ending.
I know.
We also got Tommy over here in the chat saying a classic game and epic tilt. Juju showed up wearing a kilt. Jalen rushed for 3. He only threw one more and ran for more yards than any QB before. But props to Mahomes, Kelsey, Isaiah, and Andy. Chiefs win another Super Bowl. Ain't that just dandy?
Dandy.
I messed up the cadence at the end there a little bit, but that was me, not the art.
Sounded perfect.
Just want everyone to know that was all in the delivery, not in the art itself. The art was a masterpiece.
Beautiful,
well, guys,
Tommy.
We got a lot to talk about today, so we should get straight into BYOB. Bring your own breakfast. I hope everybody brought something to eat because we got everything else, the topics, the stories, the news that we need to cover. You just got to bring your own breakfast. John Luke, you bring anything to eat this morning?
No, you ask me every morning, and I'm going to let you down. I don't have anything for breakfast.
What about you?
Juice, dude? Not even juice?
Not even juice.
I had a pretty lazy breakfast today. I had a Nutri-Grain bar and a banana, coffee, chocolate milk. I mean, I usually have a minimum 4 items, so kind of hit the threshold there. I don't want to let Mama G down. That's the thing. So, but I mean, not as elaborate.
I have no qualms letting her down.
Sometimes I show up with like a cappuccino and a breakfast sandwich. So, I mean, got to say I didn't really hit the mark today, but we're here. We're living. What about you, Simon?
Jail's like you get used to it, Coop.
Yeah, don't worry, she'll be fine.
It's like
First-
I got 28 years of practice on this bad boy. This thing here.
Yeah. It's like the meme with James Franco with the noose around his neck, and he's like, first time.
I'm having a big old glass of water first thing this morning. I'll have
dude.
something more substantial after the show.
From the pizza restaurant.
I go to Pizza Hut every morning. It's one from the 90s actually. It's stuck there. And I grab one of these cups, fill it up with Pizza Hut water, and then get back here in time for the show.
That is funny. That is such a Pizza Hut cup. Right?
Every pizza place you've ever been to has those cups, 100%.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That exact
Without
cup.
doubt. We got Jail's Mind here saying, "What did I miss?"
You missed
just-
nothing. Coop's just trying to pander to you, Ma. Don't fall for it.
Jail's not eating breakfast again. He's not eating a balanced breakfast. I don't mean to snitch. I don't like to snitch. It doesn't bring me joy to have to tell you this, but not eating a balanced breakfast. We're trying to tell him, maybe during the next break.
It's Simon.
Yeah.
Coop's a punk.
In like the cool sense or in like the lame sense?
No, in the lame sense.
I'm like sitting here. I'm like, teacher, you forgot to give us our homework for tonight.
Coop.
Sorry, I just
Whenever
want to make sure we
punk,
all.
I think when I hear punk, I think the kind of guy where let's say you had a group of 4 people and you left, and one guy was supposed to mow the lawn while you were gone, and you come back, the lawn's not mowed, and you're like, dude, why didn't you mow the lawn? The punk immediately goes, oh, well, you'll see. Without even skipping a beat, there's a story, an insane one. Rihanna showed up and had to run her halftime performance by me before she went out on the field, and I just had to do it. And everyone knows he's lying, but he gets away with it because he makes up a funny story.
Jacques Cousteau needed me.
That's the punk. That's the punk. Exactly, J.O.
That is punk move. Tommy saying, I am starting a no foul football league. Would not be that safe, but would be fun and fair.
And fair.
Vince McMahon tried that, dude. It was called the XFL, and it was not safe. It was also not fun or fair. I guess it was kind of fun. Do you guys remember the original XFL?
No, I was not around for the original XFL.
You don't remember?
My existence started after that.
You don't remember He Hate Me?
No.
They let you put whatever name on the back of your jersey, and there was this guy Ron Smart who was actually a really good kick returner and stuff in that league, and it said He Hate Me on the back of his jersey. And they asked him, this reporter was like, why do you have that on the back of your jersey? And he goes, because he hate me. They all hate me.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, I figured we would start off talking about what people in the chat have already brought up multiple times. NKC brought it up, Craig brought it up, and Tommy said ticky-tack call. I would have kept my flag in my pants. Well, at the end of the game, on 3rd down inside the 10-yard line, there was a holding call, a defensive holding call against James Bradbury that gave the Chiefs a 1st down and allowed them to run out the clock and kick a field goal at the end instead of kicking that field goal with a little under 2 minutes left and giving the ball back to the Eagles. Changed the end of that game. Instead of watching Jalen Hurts try to drive the field and the Eagles drive the field to win the game, we had the Eagles running the clock out and then Jalen Hurts tripping while throwing a Hail Mary. I think we have a clip of the video, a clip of it. So Keith is going to show that. And
James Bradbury, they're going to say he grabs him. He's got his left hand on his back. I don't know.
So I think honestly, at the end of the day, it was the right hand. James Bradbury admitted to grabbing his jersey with the right hand. So I don't know. That's the one thing for me is that, we're all ready to be up in arms. But after the game, they asked James Bradbury and he was like, yeah, I grabbed his jersey. I was hoping that they wouldn't call it, that I would kind of get away with it, that it wouldn't be that prominent. And, but he says they did call it. So it's kind of hard to sit back and say, oh, well, there was no foul when the guy on the play said, I grabbed them. I don't know. What do you guys think?
At first, I was thinking, oh, yeah, that was definitely a grab. Then they played it back in slow motion.
I know.
It just didn't look like he really held him long enough for it to be called. I think it was there enough for them to call it to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to step back and be like, all right, this is there. The Eagles should have won. This is a complete blunder. I don't think it's like that, but I think I would have erred on the side of not calling it as well.
just selfishly, like if I take what the correct decision is out of it entirely first, God, I was so disappointed. That's how the game ended. What an incredible game. We've got a tied game, 35-35 from two of the most evenly matched teams. How many times did they show that graphic that showed their wins exactly the same? The points scored throughout the season, exactly like it was absurd how evenly matched these teams were. And then at the end, instead of watching one of these two elite young quarterbacks try to drive the field in less than 2 minutes to win a Super Bowl, we watched 3 kneel downs and a field goal. Like that was just an anticlimactic way to end the game. That being said, I also think they should have let it go. I think they should have let that play keep on rolling. That was the first defensive holding call of the entire game right there in that moment. There was not a single other defensive holding call in the entire game. And that's why I think it's absurd. Could that have been holding? Sure. But they were doing that all game. Know what I mean? That wasn't a new thing that Bradbury was doing in that moment. For every single second of that game up to the last 2 minutes that hadn't been called. And then they're going to call it. They're going to change the outcome of the game on something they haven't called the entire time. That's what bugs me about it.
Yeah, I didn't like it, man. I didn't like it. And it's like when you have a kickoff return and there's a holding or a clip on the other side of the field that doesn't affect the play at all, right? It's almost like you play this whole game and then there's this play that he wasn't going to get that ball to him. You know what I mean? That grab didn't prevent a play from happening there. You know what I mean? The ball, when he actually did throw it to him when it wasn't even close. And it's not like that slowed him down. The throw was well after all that happened, right? So it's like it does cheapen the whole game in what was an awesome game, right? Except for the only person that didn't like it. I was talking to Keith before you guys got on, and he was like, "They scored too many points. I just don't like it." Like, too much. The Keith sweat was over within like 5 minutes. He didn't like that.
Scored too fast. Also, NKCSE said BRB. Might have missed that whole segment where we were talking about how much we didn't like that call. Craig in here has an authentic He Hate Me jersey and a signed mini helmet from him.
Of course he does.
Yeah. Also, Craig said, who's the bigger winner? Mahomes' MVP or JL with his bet? JL, you put down some bets before the game yesterday. I was sweating them out live with you a little bit. You want to tell us? You want to tell us what bet you put down?
Sure. I took Chiefs money line. Put 50 down on that bad boy. 150.
Wow.
And then the other one was a 4-leg parlay, same game parlay here. Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown score. Check.
Did it.
Travis Kelce anytime touchdown score. Next check.
Did it.
AJ Brown anytime touchdown score. Third touchdown of the game.
Very much. That was a sick touchdown too.
That was a sick touchdown. And then Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns for $500. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, skiddle-a-doo.
Yeah.
I wish gambling was legal here so bad. I think it is today. Like, I think they kind of messed up the timing on that. Like, so I was getting like notifications from DraftKings. They're like, sign up, pre-approve your account. So I think it is legal now. Couldn't get my Noah Gray bets in.
What terrible timing that would be to go live the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it'd be the worst.
Classic.
Get your futures in for next season.
It's terrible planning.
They probably honestly, they probably planned it to be the Super Bowl and then realized like that's a pretty aggressive rollout. Just to let's start at a zillion, right? It's like that's like NASCAR. Like, let's have the most important race very first. I mean, they probably would have tested the extent of their servers having the Super Bowl be the rollout. So probably smarter to have it the next day.
You know what, Coop? That makes way too much sense. Before I was thinking, why in the world would they do that? And then you said, I was like, huh, yeah, checks out. That makes sense.
Just have a zillion angry customers freaking out the very first day you roll it out, you know.
Someone who's worked customer support before, customers are always reasonable whenever things like that happen. 100% of the time, they never come in angry and yelling.
Yeah. Now, the other thing about the holding is that like you go and look at it, and James Bradbury and Darius Slay, like that's going to take away from the ridiculously amazing job they did yesterday. Like Marquez Valdez-Scantling didn't catch a single pass. All the passes were basically over the middle of the field. It was Juju, Kelce, McKinnon, Noah Watson. I know, sorry, Justin Watson had
Justin.
two catches for 18 yards, but like Kadarius Toney had one catch, Sky Moore had one catch, Marquez Valdez-Scantling had 0. Like for the most part, they crushed yesterday, and then that happened, which kind of sullies the whole performance. Stinks.
Man, that's why that's the one position I would never want to play is cornerback, because it does feel like that, right? You can have a near perfect game and then one mistake defines your entire game. Wide receiver, you drop a pass, that bomb that was thrown to you, like should have caught it. People will bring it up, but it's not going to sully your entire performance.
It's all about the backup QB. Best job.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, Chad Henne, retired a Super Bowl champ, Bud Light in hand. You guys see that picture of him out there on the football field?
No, I love that.
There's a picture of him out there. He's retiring, and he's got his Bud Light in his hand on the field after the game, confetti falling down.
Yeah, what a great way to go out.
Right?
Just winning a ring, sitting on the bench.
And he played a little, though. He played just enough to be like, yeah, I played. I was out there. He played like the one drive.
I was in there. I was in that Super Bowl.
It's a backup quarterback dream, right? To go in there, play just enough, and then win, and then sip a Bud Light and walk off in the sunset.
Yeah.
Who was it just recently who said, like, backup quarterback's a pretty good job in this league?
It was Taylor Heineke.
You're right. He said backup quarterback is probably one of the best jobs in America, is what he said.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah.
Nah,
You guys see what Jason Kelsey said to Travis?
no.
He said, F you, congratulations.
It sounds about right.
That's hilarious.
I can just picture him saying that. Like, just his playful eyes walking up, but with real
Playful
anger.
eyes.
Real anger in them, but real love for his brother as
playful,
well.
deep eyes.
His playful, deep, sexy eyes. Sorry.
I just feel so terrible for Jason Kelsey. Like, the poor guy, multi-millionaire athlete who already won a Super Bowl himself. Like, how is he gonna get by? How is he gonna deal with this?
Man, thank God he's got you to humble him, Coop. What would he do without you?
What would he do without me? Waking up in his mansion this morning. That poor guy.
His meat mansion.
Yeah, well, he and his dad went and got milkshakes after the game yesterday. Remember, Dad said he was going to comfort whoever the loser was. So he's going to go over there, get some milkshakes with Dad, sit down, have a talk in the car about how Travis was mean, and then he's going to go home and he'll be fine this morning. He'll be okay. You're right, Coop.
Did you guys see? We were talking about the Juju said that he said that yes 100% when asked if he felt like he was held.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, like, whether
Absolutely.
and I think James Bradbury, like Coop, you brought up his response as well. I think he's just being a good sport. You know what I mean? Like, I think he probably is just saying the professional thing to say in that situation. Yeah, I grabbed him. They called it. And Jude's saying, yeah, he grabbed me. Like, what is he going to say? No, actually, that was a bad call and we won off a technicality. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to say that.
Bradbury said that. He said I held him.
Yeah.
He said he grabbed him. He said he's like, I grabbed his jersey. He's like, I was hoping they wouldn't call it or whatever, you know what I mean? But like at the same time, that kind of stuff happens on virtually every play. So I think that's kind of where the way when you listen to it, like that's kind of what he's saying. He's like, I grabbed him. I was hoping that they wouldn't, that they would get away with it. But I don't know.
I respect him for that though, because I think most people wouldn't do that. They wouldn't say that.
Also, when you have the game that he had, like it's impossible to go back and watch the tape and be like, this guy blew the game. You know what I mean? Like he did his job to the fullest.
He also he was the reason they're still in the game.
Exactly. And again, we love to bitch about one call or whatever, but the game to a certain, I mean, like there was a lot of plays that could have gone either way to change the outcome of this game. Like if both teams could have won the game sooner had they done things differently. So it's hard you can't just pin it on one play. Amazing foresight by McKinnon to go down at the 1 yard line, right? In a game like this, to think ahead like that and go down, genius. Would have been way more fun if he scored and we could see the Eagles come back down and try and win it, though, right? Like I want
That's
that
what
guy
we were all hoping for. That's what we were all hoping for. That you get caught up in the moment and he just runs into the end zone, but he remembered. It looked like he remembered at the last second.
I know.
Like
you could tell he hesitated. He was like, oh yeah, down.
Yeah. When his cleats went into the end zone, I was like, touchdown! He's in. Let's go. Kick it off.
He
All those
wanted
years of wisdom.
he wanted that Super Bowl touchdown. He wanted to get that Super Bowl touchdown.
Yeah. Still though,
He's
like
a professional.
they'll replay that play too, and it's a good looking play. So he's got the highlight.
He does. Jarek, and how much longer do we get Jerick McKinnon? Is this the last time we really see him relevant? You guys think he'll be back next year?
How old is he? Like 28, 30?
He's like 30.
He's getting up there. He's like 30,
30.
31.
He's 30. Just pulled it up. I mean, he still looks like he's got juice in the tank. I bet we see him. I bet the Chiefs would love to bring him back next year.
Juice in the tank. Juice in the tank.
Now the think about McKinnon that kind of stinks is we were robbed of multiple prime years of McKinnon, and maybe even robbed of the McKinnon that we were supposed to get. And the one we have now isn't even full strength. People forget that this guy had like the best running back combine that anyone's ever had, right? 32 reps on the bench press, ran like a low 4.40. Like it was perfect. And then he had a very serious knee injury to the point where like he missed an entire full year, left Minnesota to go to San Francisco, and then had to work his way back over a long period of time. So kind of crazy career for Jerick McKinnon. Well, what could have been with this guy,
I feel like I felt Jerick McKinnon's career as if it was a sports car, because Tim from very early on was bought into Jerick McKinnon in our Dynasty League. And every single year he's been just like fully on that roller coaster, whichever way it was on. It's the screwed Jerick McKinnon. He's injured. He's done now to this is his year.
But he never gave up. Even in his years, he kept holding him on that roster, saying, no, he's great. Just watch. Just watch.
Wasn't wrong, technically. That's why you got to be a truther for you guys. Hey, me with Evan Ingram, there were some down years, there were some dark times, but he just had to link up with Trevor Lawrence, and now he's back on top, and now he has to find a new team.
We'll see if he stays on top.
Yeah. Now that we've gotten through the boring part, which is talking about the game, what did you guys think of the halftime show?
Baller.
I liked it. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I thought she crushed, man. I would have liked to see I'm a sucker for it. Call me basic, but I would have liked to see a surprise guest. That's the one thing that I think would have made it a little better for me, because she has so many people that feature on those tracks that are awesome. Like,
Bryson Tiller. They played Wild Thoughts.
Yeah,
they're gonna bring him out.
They could have brought out Bryson. They like Umbrella. Jay-Z's on Umbrella. Imagine Trigger Man comes out.
Wasn't he at the game too?
Of course he was, dude. Hove is quietly everywhere, and he always has the best seat. He's just,
are you here?
He's he could be.
You think he has the best seat?
He'd be sitting right on JL's lap.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll never forget when I was getting into this industry, and I'm in a taxi cab with Adam Wexler, who's the CEO of Prize Picks, and we're sitting there talking, and he's like, "Why don't you just be Jay-Z's personal fantasy guru? Like, why are you trying to start a company in the space?" And I was like, "Is that an option?" And I was like, "Of course I'll take that. Where do I apply? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, didn't know that
Jay-Z's
was on the table.
personal fantasy assistant. Get my company. I'm out of here.
You send the application over.
Yeah,
I'll leave right now.
Yeah.
Good luck.
But
no,
I don't know.
I loved it. I understand wanting a surprise guest, but it got to the end and it was over. And not once, like during the performance, was I like, man, I wish there would have been a surprise guest. So I'm not mad about it. I thought it worked good as a solo performance.
It felt like a breath of fresh air after last year, because last year was so
Chaotic,
wildly good. It was so good that it felt like if she came out and she tried to go bigger than what they did last year, it wouldn't have hit the same. It would have just like been like, oh, a one-upping. Okay, the next who's going to one-up after that. This felt like it was a cool, confident. Like she was confident in herself, and it was like low-key, but really good in a low-key way. So I was a big fan.
You're right. That's the way to do it, kind of, is that like you have somebody come out and like do a solo performance, and then next year maybe you come back with the big collab again, and it's like kind of a refresher, right?
Right.
If they came out and tried to do the collab again, now everybody's trying to measure it to last year, where it's like,
right,
did you have 50 Cent hanging upside down about to pass out. Like,
That's
you know what
the
I mean?
bar of good halftime show, isn't it? Where was 50 Cent and when? What was his orientation?
What's his orientation? Was he about to pass out and throw up on stage? No. Okay. Well, then how are we gonna?
Blood all rushing to his head.
How are we gonna compare it? You know, it's like because then once you bring out one, it's like okay, well, she did bring out Jay-Z, but last year was 50 Cent and Eminem and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. It's like now you're counting names, right?
Now, now people are in their heads. They're comparing while they should be watching.
Yeah. And I'll tell you once again, the great barometer of what's good or what's not. Ani Coop liked it, and
there we go.
She can be tough. She can be tough critic at times, but she was a big fan of this year's halftime show, so she did something right.
Yeah.
I do want to say, on Friday, we predicted what the first song would be, and Coop, you told me, I don't think it's gonna be "Bitch Better Have My Money."
I said no chance. I was like, there's no way they come out with that, and then it was
First song, "Bitch Better Have My Money." As soon as it went, I said, I knew it. I told you, Coop.
I said that to all my buddies too. I was like, Simon called it, and they were like, who the hell's Simon? And Meat Mansion just looked over and he was like,
respect.
chugged a Bud Light and
chugged a Bud Light, dude. We actually did put a Bud Light on the coin toss, which we mentioned called heads. That was a very cold Bud Light that I had to drink, but down the hatch, and we got through it.
Wait, wasn't it tails?
He called tails, and I called heads, so I got heads by default. Yeah, but the halftime show was good, man. I thought it was awesome. Choreography was crazy, and anytime you bring the platforms out, that's good stuff.
Yeah, she's like floating up there. I love the little puffy jacket dudes. At one point, they were dancing in the bottom, and I was just like feeling it. I was grooving.
Yo,
I was looking.
Moment. Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I said I was looking through all those puffy jacket dudes. I was like, one of these little marshmallow dudes is definitely Kanye. Hide in there, dude. Ready to grab that mic, dude.
So sure they played all of the lights.
All the lights out. Like looking around, like one of these dudes is Kanye, and he's got something to say.
The best part for me was when they cut away from her for a second, then they cut back, and she's got her makeup palette out, puts it on, drops it, and then just walks straight down the catwalk, badass. Like just the little theatrics of the makeup powder, and then walking down that did it for that was awesome.
That was.
Gosh.
Shout out Rihanna. Great halftime show.
Killed it. Also, we got Trenton in here. Said morning, First Light. Got him. What's up, Trenton? Welcome in, my friend. Happy day after Super Bowl. Everybody's favorite should be a national holiday. How many times a day do you think you're going to hear, it should be a national holiday? Really? We really shouldn't have to work the day after the Super Bowl.
At least 5 times. I'm going to make that joke plenty of times to my dog after this.
I was cracking up. You guys follow that account, 3 Year Letterman?
No.
On Twitter? Oh, it's one of the best parody accounts of all time. His Twitter bio is like youth football coaching legend and show-stopping Little League umpire. He wrote this big long thing that was like he called it the President Benjamin Franklin Act, which Benjamin Franklin was never even president, and he put it out there. You can check it out on Twitter. It's pretty funny. But basically appealing to the president to make today a holiday. And I think it should be, but what holiday do you switch? Like what holiday do you get rid of to make this a holiday?
It's not a zero-sum game.
Add a new
one.
Just add a new one. There you go, dude. Why not?
I see Jolly Rancher in here. Good morning, Mom. She said, I thought her big red puffy jacket was going to be a parachute whenever the halftime show started.
And I wanted her to jump.
Can you imagine if she would have I wanted her to jump. If she would have jumped and parachuted down with her jacket from up there.
That'd be sweet.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That would be absurd.
Patrick Mahomes and a baby Bjorn.
And that's
attached to her.
That's the problem, Mama Grunewald, is that you get thoughts like that in your head, and then when they don't happen, you're disappointed. Like that was me. I'm like, Jay-Z's coming out. Then when he didn't, it took some time for me to go back and be like, you know what, that was awesome, even though he didn't come out. So I hope you were able to enjoy the show, even though she did not parachute down with her.
I'm staying in the whole thing going, jump. I know the Eagles did lose yesterday, but Jalen Hurts balled out, man. Awesome. If it wasn't for that one fumble, dude was unreal. What, 3 rushing touchdowns, and then the highlight reel pass to AJ Brown for the other touchdown. Just Yeah, I wanted him to get one, but I think he will get one. It just wasn't this year. I think that dude's going to get a Super Bowl.
I was telling Simon, right after the fumble, that drive after the fumble for Jalen Hurts, he playing some style hero ball.
Yeah.
He was like running the ball, throwing into double coverage. He wanted that turnover back.
Yeah, it was his time. It was his time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But he
dude,
did it.
he is so cool. You like you gotta give him that. Like he is just the coolest dude. Down to the eye black and all, you know what I mean? Like he is just like the coolest.
Even
Walks
when he
up,
makes
his
like a big
earring is
mistake.
sick.
Yeah,
Eye
he's got
black.
the
You're
earring.
right. He just when he walks up, it's like, oh, that's a cool guy.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like he is steaming Willie Beeman, right? Like he is
Steven
just
Willie Beeman.
he's just the man. So gotta be happy if you have him as your guy. Although it's tough to lose a game like that when it's that close. You get that close to the mountaintop. And it just now anything short of that isn't going to feel like enough. Like look at Bengals fans, right? Like they had such a good year and they made it so deep, one game away, and it feels like disappointment. So now you're in that zone.
Yeah.
And NKC rules showing us exactly how that feels with all caps in the chat. None because Mahomes is a cheater. Oh boy, we knew it was going to happen this morning.
Man, Mahomes. Speaking of him, I saw a tweet that at the age of 27, after 5 years as a starter, Patrick Mahomes has played in 5 AFC title games, won 3 conference titles, 2 Super Bowls, and 2 NFL MVPs.
Wow.
You guys think he's number 1 quarterback in the league?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, like with a guy like that, it's you almost have to jump right to like the GOAT list discussion, right? So like Tom Brady probably still won, but you know, if he were to retire today, where does he fall on that list? It's almost like got to put Joe Montana ahead, probably still.
If you take longevity out of the calculation, I think the conversation starts at 2.
Yeah.
No, like I really do think if you take longevity out of that conversation, it starts at 2 right now. If you add longevity in there, there's probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other names that need to go ahead of him. Like the full careers are way more impressive. But 2 Super Bowls, most players never do that in their entire career, and he's got 2 in his first 5 years. Like that's absurd, man.
Right. See, it's like you got to put Peyton Manning ahead because he has 2 and he has the longevity. But like, I don't even know where I would rank. If he retired today, I'm not sure I know where I'd rank him compared to like Drew Brees. Probably still got to be Drew Brees ahead, but I mean, yeah. Probably, I think I would still put Lawrence Taylor and Jerry Rice ahead as well.
Let's say you were starting a franchise today, Coop. Both Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes are starting their careers today. Weird time travel. They're the age of when they started their career. You get to pick who you want to be your franchise quarterback. Are you picking Drew Brees? You get his whole career, or are you picking Patrick Mahomes? You get his whole career.
I think I'm taking Mahomes, man. Because Mahomes has a hot start, so it's like you got to go Mahomes, man. Just the way he's playing. I don't even know if I would take Tom Brady over Mahomes, man. He's so good. He's so good, and he fits in better with the current league. Like if you started Tom Brady's career right now, we'd be looking at it and be like, why doesn't he run? Because that's what all the cool quarterbacks are doing. You know,
that's what all the cool kids are doing.
All the cool kids are running. Right, like the game has evolved. Patrick Mahomes has just enough mobility that he can get it done. He's that dual threat. I'm not sure if
the tongue. I think the tongue gives him the mobility.
Yeah, he got that Michael Jordan tongue.
Good thing he doesn't play tennis. He would be projecting his serves everywhere.
We would know.
So predictable.
He probably started playing tennis. That's probably why he stopped playing baseball. Everyone knew what he was throwing. He would like do it with his tongue before he threw a curveball. He'd be like. And then he would just throw it.
You have no idea what we're talking about. We had a Moreau, where we had who was it, Simon? Who was a tennis player?
It was against Andre Agassi.
No, it was Andre Agassi. Oh, but the tongue was Boris Becker. Boris Becker would stick his tongue out. Andre Agassi was the one who figured it out.
Crazy.
But yeah, Boris Becker would project his serves with his tongue, and Agassi told him like years after they retired that was his secret to beating him.
Wild.
Like 10 times in a row.
They just got to do that to Mahomes. That's
the
secret.
Hal with a good question in the chat. Is there a GOAT QB that didn't have a GOAT coach? So Brady obviously has Belichick. Joe Montana had Bill Walsh. Drew Brees had Sean Payton. I mean, I guess maybe
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning kind of went from the Colts to the Broncos, and I don't know if any of those coaches. It was Tony Dungy was the coach for the most part when he was there with the Colts.
Yeah.
So we won the Super Bowl with, right?
Yeah, Dungy was a good coach though. I don't know if
Yeah,
I put him in the
Dungy was
GOAT
good.
category, but I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
I could see it.
I could see it too. Did you guys see before the game, whenever they were awarding the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, that the Eagles fans loudly booed Dak Prescott in the arena?
Come on.
The Walter Payton Man of the Year award. They booed the man, their division rival quarterback, Dak Prescott, for getting the award.
I heard that on the broadcast. This is like, come on, Philadelphia.
Classic Eagles, dude. They threw snowballs at Santa Claus, man. Of course they're gonna boo Dak Prescott.
Just absolutely no shame.
I love it because Dak was loving it too. You saw him like grinning while they were doing it, right? The second they said his name, he knew it was coming. Like he leaned back, and then they started booing. He's just like chuckling to himself a little bit.
Crazy.
That's got to be fun. Know what I mean? Like he's not even playing in that game. They already beat him multiple times this season. They're out, division rival, and they're just going.
That's what I'm saying. Still piling it on. That is the most Philadelphia thing I've ever seen.
And I love that it's even the Eagles fans that have the money to go to this game, like even the highest tier of Eagles fans that can drop like $5,000 on a ticket to a football game are still booing Dak Prescott as he receives an award for charity.
for being a good person.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's top to bottom with that fan base. It's like you can't even just be like, well, there's the bad eggs. It's like, okay, these guys are probably the good eggs, dude. And they're booing this guy as he gets his charity award. So good.
Though I do want to point out that bad egg, good egg is not correlated to the amount of money that you have. There are some real bad eggs with lots of money.
Some of the worst eggs.
In fact, some of the worst eggs have lots of money. So maybe that's what we were getting over there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's lost.
So we were watching the post game yesterday, and I feel like we were waiting for Andy Reid to make a joke because he's been making lots of jokes recently. But I completely missed this last night, but saw it in a video this morning. Terry Bradshaw, whenever calling Andy Reid up to the microphone to have him talk, said, "Waddle over here" to Andy Reid. Terry Bradshaw used the words "waddle over here" on national television to the Super Bowl winning coach to describe how he should move across the stage to talk to him.
Listen, he just wants everyone to be like him. That's how he views the world. Everybody waddles.
What are you doing,
He
dude?
said, "Waddle over here." You can't tell a grown man waddle over here. That is so rude, Terry. Right? Can you imagine?
Waddle over here.
He said I got the quote. He said, "Big guy, let me get the big guy in here. Come on, waddle over here." Oh my God.
Jeez, Terry.
Ugh.
With his little paperboy cap on up there, just hanging out after the Super Bowl, making jokes at Andy Reid.
So rude, dude. So rude.
He made a cheeseburger joke. I called it. He did it.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the cheeseburger.
What did he say?
Joke.
I think I missed the cheeseburger joke too. Terry Bradshaw.
It was real subtle. No, it was Andy Reid. It was self-deprecating. You know, we were talking about Andy Reid likes that self-deprecating humor, and he said something like, "Get yourself a cheeseburger."
What a what a beast.
That was it.
I guess you had to be there. I guess you had to be there.
I guess so.
I love that.
I'm not sure if it was a joke or just a command.
Yeah. After one of my favorite little things was after the game, the NFL from their official Reddit account tried to post the game-winning field goal, a video on Reddit, and it was quickly becoming one of the most downvoted posts on the history of the NFL subreddit, and then they deleted it. People were just like so mad about the call that they jumped into this thread and just started tearing the NFL to shreds until they deleted the post.
I love when stuff like that happens on Reddit. It happened with EA Sports as well, I believe, if I remember correctly. And that is still, I think, maybe the most downvoted post of all time on Reddit.
They have the most downvoted post and the most downvoted comments of all time. The most downvoted comment of all time is from EA Sports, and it has like over 1 million downvotes.
I downvoted it. I didn't even care. I just wanted to be part of history.
They were trying to explain. So somebody asked them why it cost like $80 to unlock Darth Vader in the game, and they were basically like the comment starts off like, we set the bar high so that you can have a sense of pride and accomplishment, and then just boom, downvote storm like to the ground. So yeah, EA Sports, the most downvote.
This is a totally reasonable response to.
Yeah. Into the ground. I mean, like for the longest time, when you searched EA Sports on Google, a picture of a swastika came up because Reddit was like, let's make this the most highest upvoted thing so that when you Google EA Sports, a swastika comes up. It's just hilarious. Another hilarious move.
They were going in on them.
I feel like the beauty of Reddit is that you get these like kind of macro, like mass movement of people. Everyone kind of piles on to something. You don't like YouTube is wild, but you don't get that sort of like piling on that you get in Reddit.
The camaraderie. Yeah.
It's the best and worst thing about Reddit. Because you also remember after the Boston Marathon bombing, Reddit ruined people's lives by falsely identifying them as the Boston Marathon bomber. Like these people were in a thread trying to solve it themselves, and they found pictures of people through different like security footage, and they like ruined a guy's life falsely accusing him. People were going at like, so that Reddit camaraderie, sometimes it's for good, and then sometimes it is like
they're like, ooh,
because it feeds into each other. It keeps going.
Yeah.
The Reddit detectives have definitely made some mistakes. There's no doubt about that.
We got Scott Fishing here. What's up, Scott? Welcome in, my friend.
What up, Scott?
Scott, what up, dog?
And we got Hal in here saying breathalyzer. Terry Bradshaw should have to take a breathalyzer before he gets the mic. People were saying the same thing about Romo recently. I heard that. So maybe Romo and Bradshaw can have a call, figure that out together.
Yeah. Yikes.
Now,
Not good.
Speaking of Bradshaw, he said something during the game yesterday that I stopped and I asked JL, is this true? Or did Terry Bradshaw just say something just to say something? And then they kind of answered it later in the game, but he said, the field is so slippery because there's so much paint on it, is what he said during the game, which turns out later, not true. It's the grass. They have like a specific type of grass that they're using that they talked about on there. I feel like they didn't plan on talking about it that much, but because Terry said there's so much paint on the field that it's so slippery, they talked about it a little. And it's like a type of grass that they've had issues with throughout the entire season, but it was a new type of grass for that field this year. And it was apparently really slick. They kept showing piles of cleats on the sidelines, on the Eagles sideline.
Right. Yeah, the equipment guy trying to switch it out, find the right ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Pompliano on Twitter said the NFL spent 2 years preparing the grass for tonight's field at the Super Bowl. The grass was grown at a local sod farm in Phoenix. It was installed 2 weeks ago, and the field has been rolled out each morning for daily sunshine. Total cost, $800,000.
And then they just went and slapped all that paint on it to
And
ruin
then they went and vandalized it, according to Terry Bradshaw.
It's like getting a Ferrari and then putting a bumper sticker on it. Your classic boomer analogy for tattoos.
It is cool how they roll the grass out and then roll it back in so they can have a dome. That's pretty wild.
Shout out turf grass majors.
Legends.
Is that really the boomer response to that? To tattoos?
You've never heard that?
No.
I've heard that a million times.
My immediate thought was, wow, you think I'm a Ferrari?
It's like putting a bump because they're like, your body is a temple. So like, don't put, they're like, it's like having a Ferrari and putting a bumper sticker on it.
Like, yeah, that's kind of genuine, or that's kind of generous. I don't know about that.
Right? It's like, no, this is a Corolla at bat. And don't get me wrong, a Corolla is a pretty good car. Like I'm not trying to be too
fine with a spoiler on it.
Exactly. It's all good. We can throw a spoiler on that bad boy. Scott said, I think it was so slippery from players sweating and spitting on it. So little respect for the field.
So rude.
Hal says the NFL spends $800,000 on the field in the Super Bowl and screws it up. That's a lot of money to spend on a slippery field.
Yeah, some of these
love
stadiums,
to see the budget.
Some of these stadiums are in terrible shape, like MetLife Stadium and then FedEx Field where Washington plays. Those fields are brutal to the point where the FedEx Field it's like falling apart. Like remember the railing came down and then almost fell on Jalen Hurts. Like Get it together, man. But that's also Dan Snyder. So what can you really ask for?
That was absurd. I forgot. Was that this season?
No, I think that was
No,
last year.
2 seasons ago.
Okay.
Last season.
I'm telling
Last
you guys, the second the season ends, it has blended in with the others now. It is part of the ether of NFL seasons.
I've clearly already switched to the new season because I was thinking last season, but I said 2 seasons ago, thinking we're already in a new season.
I've been on the new season, man. I've already got eight articles up on 8 teams talking about free agency. Today is February 13th, the legal tampering period, which is basically when even though it's technically not free agency, that's when all the deals get announced, and that is March 13th. So, and there's only like 28 days in this month. So under a month away until free agency opens, man. Football, it never quits. It never stops. We're already on the new season, and now it's time to start looking at free agency, baby.
February 13th. That's today. That means tomorrow. You know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
My half birthday.
Hey.
Tomorrow. I will, as we all celebrate, I know they're very important to everyone here. That is the very important day tomorrow. That's the holiday that we're all celebrating tomorrow, I believe.
And everybody in the chat, if of course you didn't forget that tomorrow's Valentine's Day, but maybe you need a little reminder. Run out, get your significant other a little something today. Don't forget. All right. I didn't forget. Definitely not. I definitely didn't sit here and say tomorrow's Tuesday. Of course, I would never forget.
Of course, that wasn't me.
Trenton in here said, yo, do you think KC is a pass first team and that made the grass a strategy? Hurts all the teams that run. No, I'm not going to go down that path. The Chiefs did not. They started growing this 2 years ago, like JL said, right? To have that kind of foresight to plan that, they didn't know that they were going to make it and who their opponent would be. So, like, a field takes so long to grow that even if they wanted to cheat that way, it would be implausible. It would be really unlikely.
Yeah. I will say a name that was I hardly even saw him on the field. Miles Sanders just didn't. He was not a factor yesterday, right?
Oh man, I almost put him in that parlay. I was going back and forth between Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. I had them both in there at one point, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take Miles Sanders out of this.
Yeah, he only played 26% of the snaps. Boston Scott played 17. Kenneth Gainwell played 51% of the snaps. So drastically outsnapped Miles Sanders. So Miles Sanders is going to be a unrestricted free agent this year. Do you think he's going back to Philly, or do you think he's going to test the waters and see what else is out there?
That was a weird usage for him in that final game. I bet he tests the waters.
I bet he does too. I can't imagine Philly pays up for him. They haven't taken that approach in the past, right? They're splitting up. They have a committee backfield, and they got Jalen Hurts as their prime running back. I don't think they need to pay up for running back.
Exactly. That's where I'm at. Is that Jalen Hurts had the second most carries inside the 5-yard line of any player in the league, of anyone. The only guy that had more carries inside the 5 was Jamal Williams, who scored 18 touchdowns. So
the reason I took Miles Sanders out of that parlay yesterday is I was looking at his touchdowns and I was like, how many rushing touchdowns? How many times have they given this guy the ball when near the goal line? So I looked. I'm like, okay, he's got 11 touchdowns. Like, I wonder how that is compared to the rest of the league, like rest of the running backs league. So I switch over to look at not just his team, but not just running backs on his team, but all the running backs in the NFL. And like in the top 8 was Jalen Hurts, and I was like, oh. Right. He's not even the number 1 rusher on his own team.
Exactly.
I'm taking him out.
Not in the red zone. Yeah. It's crazy how that happens. So I don't know. I think and for fantasy football, for Dynasty, if he lands in the right spot, this is a guy that has over 5 yards of carry for his career, and that's been the thing holding him back. So maybe he can maybe he's a buy right now. I like the idea of it.
He looked good this year. He looked very good.
Yeah.
I see Scott in here saying, I know there's talk about outlawing the push player from behind thing. Thoughts on that? Like it? Don't? What do you guys think? Because that is interesting. Because it looked like we even saw players like flying over the pile trying to stop it, hanging around. Like, it was unstoppable. He was 30 for 34 on fourth or on like QB sneaks going into this game. What do you guys think about that? Do you think they should make adjustments to that rule?
What's the reasoning for?
I think the reasoning for is that they view it as like an unfair play for the offense. Like, it is a guaranteed 1 yard, I think is how they're viewing it. Like, it's not a competitive play.
because it's just like on a 4th and 1, you could almost always push it in.
Right.
Who was it that came out? I think it was like last season and said the quarterback sneak is the single hardest play. I think it was JJ Watt who said it. I think he said the quarterback sneak is the hardest play to defend against. I think he said, I don't understand why teams don't run it more often.
That's what he said. Yeah, he was like, "Why?" I forget what game it was that they didn't run QB sneaks when they were on it was like 1st and goal on the 2-yard line. It's just that's what I do in Madden. I just run it over and over again, the QB sneak. And he makes a good point. And especially if you can push these guys from behind. I gave my thoughts on it yesterday. I tweeted that basically that, legal or not, when you have a team like the Eagles that are doing it like that, it's the most boring play in football. It really is just so boring to watch. It's like watching a rugby scrum, just watching this guy get pushed in the back and just like, smashing his way to 1 inch and it's unstoppable. I don't know. I don't like it. And it seems like a good way to get your quarterback hurt. Right.
When they do stop it though, it's electric. It's absolute hype.
Yeah.
The pandemonium on the field is everyone's just like,
Yeah.
whoa!
Yeah.
That's my favorite move whenever they go like this.
Yeah.
I see while stomping. No, like that's the best.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to take though, is that one person, like we watch one quarterback get hurt that way, where somebody from his team is pushing him and then somebody from the other team is pushing him and he gets bent the wrong way. And then now all of a sudden they're like, okay, now it's illegal. That's what it's going to take.
Absolutely. Yeah. I see Scott down here reminding us it was outlawed until 2005. It was push or pull in the rule. They removed the push part in 2005 and now they're talking about putting it back in. That makes sense. That most of my cognizant NFL memory is post 2005, so I don't really remember what it was like before that.
It's so funny that there are I still like, even just yesterday, you run into all these rules where at some point it was a rule and they change the rules so often that people might miss it, and then you still have the people saying the old rule. Like one of the big ones I always see is it used to be a penalty when you would face guard a guy. So like a guy is going to catch a ball, right? And then you get in his face and you're not looking at the ball and you go like this. That used to be illegal, but now you're allowed to do it as long as you don't touch him. And all the time, I'll be watching a game with somebody and they'll go, he didn't even turn to look at the ball. He didn't, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not a penalty, right? The same thing with like, it used to be a penalty to if a guy jumped up and you pushed him out of bounds, right? That was a weird penalty that is no longer around. There's so much of that where it's like, unless you're like us and you talk about it every single morning, you might miss these rules that get changed. I honestly didn't, like Scott's mentioning, I don't even remember them changing that rule. I until this year, I thought you couldn't push a guy. So happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah, I guess the Eagles are so good at it that it's become a talking point this year, right? Like that's usually what happens. Either it's an injury, a rule causing the team to lose, or all of a sudden it's being exploited, and then that prompts these conversations. I don't think there's anything new. They're just good at it. They're just getting it done.
Oh, and it certainly works.
We got Joey in here. What's up, Joey? Good morning. So Pacheco's usage in the biggest game of the year for the Chiefs majorly boosted my expectations for him in 2023. Also, he said, side note, congrats, Coop. I know what you've been doing. Yeah, Coop. Officially announced.
Oh, yeah.
Out there. Congratulations, my friend. You had a double big day yesterday.
Big day, yeah. Decided to make an announcement. I kind of figured that it would be a good day to announce it since people were around. But I thought like, oh, people would be too busy to comment, so I can just kind of get it done with. But a lot of people did comment. So thank you guys, everybody that said congratulations. I'm having a baby. And
Woo!
I did save a special announcement for this show. A little exclusive for the boys. Exclusive. Look at Simon. He is so excited. So I did say that I was having a baby. I didn't say what kind of baby it was. You of course get naming rights, yes. But JL has the color of the gender reveal on his screen right now with the light behind you. That on my screen.
2 colors that could be either one.
It's the color that's not on the T. Higgins side.
Oh, girl.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna be a girl, Dad. Oh, Coop, you're gonna cry
Dad.
every day for the rest of your life.
I already started shedding a little tear. Yeah, I got my wife. We have my dog Lufa, who's a girl. It's just gonna be me. It's gonna be Coop in the girl
Coop
house.
and the girls.
Yeah.
Tommy said, "Little
Yeah.
Tommy."
Coop in the house.
I mean, Tammy.
Little Tammy.
Little Tammy.
Little Tammy Tommy. That's what we're gonna name her.
Little Tammy Tomato Coop.
Tammy
Also,
Tommy
and-
Cooper.
In case he
Tammy
said,
Tommy.
"What kind? What do you mean?"
What
I
kind?
said,
What do you
what
mean?
kind of baby?
That's right.
Because
dude,
you
yeah.
said I didn't announce what kind of baby I'm having.
Yeah, it's Chipotle.
Chipotle baby.
Just
Joey
both.
News said Girl Dad Club. And Craig with a congrats again, man. 4 of them here. It is something great.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be very cool.
So
Hashtag Girl
Lufa
Dad.
2, is that the name?
Lufa
Lufa
the sequel.
2.
Electric Boogaloo.
I like the idea of the name Tomato Cooper, and then just call her Tommy for sure. Sure. What do you
Let's
guys
call her
think?
Tommy. Tomato.
Tammy. This is Tommy.
Tommy,
And Casey said
come in.
an alien. Hopefully not, but we'll see.
But maybe that'd be dope. That'd be dope. Right?
Coop, your baby comes out. She's an alien. What do you do?
I'd start booking talk shows, dude. I'm gonna meet Ellen.
I was about to say call Ellen. That was going to be the next words out of my mouth.
Right,
Somebody
dude?
get me Ellen's number.
Call Ellen. Yeah, I'm sure Elon Musk would show up at my house shortly. You know, he just
Unannounced.
He's welcome to the club, brother.
right. He had to welcome me to the exclusive club of half of alien people. So
He
yeah,
let you
it'd be
borrow
pretty
his
sick.
alien baby names book that he
Right.
very clearly has.
Yeah, it's like a store. The stork drops off a normal baby, but when you have an alien baby, it gets dropped off by like a Chinese spy balloon. That's why the
That's why they're
balloon
here.
passed over. Yeah, it was dropping off my baby.
That
Very
makes sense. Jails Monty saying, congratulations, Coop. So exciting. And Tommy saying, watch the game with my girl yesterday was amazing. You got all the parent support in the chat, Coop.
Hell yeah! And don't worry, JL's ma. I'm gonna make sure that she has a balanced breakfast every morning.
Smart. Don't want her to end up like me
Don't want her just drinking juice.
on the wrong side of the OJ.
Drinking juice out of a mug and calling it a cup. And everyone just acts like it's normal. We just nod our heads because we know at this point, like, what are we going to do?
It's unsavable.
It's unsavable. NKC down here saying Eagles will get better and better and better. I do think this team is in a good spot to run it back next year, to take it back, get another shot at that title. Unreal season, and there's not any like drastic pieces falling off. So we'll see. We'll see, NKC. It'll be a fun
some
off
Weddle?
season. You guys want to hit the daily Weddle?
But yeah. Now I'm
Good.
invested. Now we've been doing it like a week. I'm in.
We're undefeated. Guys, if you've never done this with us, you can head to weddlegame.com. It's just like the popular word games Wordle or Quirtle, but we're trying to guess an NFL player. With each guess, we're going to get a little bit more information, hopefully, about who this player is. Coop, you want to kick us off by guessing a player?
Yeah, let's do why don't we do a player that I was hoping would do a little more yesterday, only caught one pass though. Let's get Noah Gray in there.
Noah Gray. Okay, the team is correct. The division obviously also correct. They are shorter than 6'3", older than 23, and their number is less than 83. So we got the team in the division
Wow.
right automatically.
Even first
That's
try. That's
huge,
That's
dude.
an awesome guess.
Yeah,
That's a great guess.
Nice job, Coop.
Let's go. Okay, so
24 or 25.
under 6'3", so it's not Mahomes or Henny, so we can rule out quarterback. Then?
And older than 23. Yeah.
So 24, 25.
24, 25. Yeah, so it's not quarterback, it's not tight end, so wide receiver or running back. JL, what direction you want to go here?
We could go Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he would probably fit all of these categories.
I think you're right, Joe. You want to try it? Because he fits all of them.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay.
Butthole.
He's also 23, so he does not fit it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is only
Sorry,
5
guys.
foot. He's only 5'7". Did you know that?
No, I did not.
No, that is incredibly small. Is that right?
According to Weddle, and I take that as the Bible.
Did you know
This
that
guy's
Clyde?
between. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you know that Clyde Edwards-Helaire killed a man?
No.
No.
It's also 5'7".
You did not know that
No.
in college, and I'm not even kidding. Like out of self-defense with a gun.
Oh,
That's
shoot.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to read about that. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
It was over. It was like a him and his buddy were selling a PlayStation, I think, and the guy like pulled the gun. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a legal gun that he had a permit for, and he defended himself. There you go.
Well, that's terrifying. I'm sorry you had to have that experience, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I know.
Did you get to keep the PlayStation?
You know what? I'd like to think that he might have, but it also could be sitting in an evidence locker somewhere too.
Makes sense.
Hard to say.
Both likely true.
Yeah. Okay.
Hal in the chat saying Tony. NKC also saying Kadarius Tony. Maybe. Do you guys think
give the people what they want?
He's not 20.
He's too young.
He's older than 23.
Is he?
No.
like
I mean, he's not older than 23.
He's not older than 23. Yeah, he's younger. So, but I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is too old.
Juju's definitely too old, right? Juju's too
Juju's
old.
like 27.
But is Juju too tall?
Probably.
I think he's definitely too old. So this guy is between 5'9" and 6 foot, or no, 5'10" and 6 foot. That's
feel
where
like
we're at. 'Cause
Juju's
it can't be
5'10"
5'8" or
and
5'9". So
Juju's
between
not
5'10"
too.
and
Juju's very young. He was one of the youngest players drafted in his class. He might still only be 25. I think he is.
You want to go Juju?
Let's try it. I'm down. Am I clicking it?
Click it.
Click it.
Okay. Well, the position is correct. The height is too tall at 6'1".
26.
But now we're close. The number
Mm.
is also close, but too high. So we know the number has to be
11 and 23. 11 to 23.
24, 25. Oh, for the age. Yeah, the number is 11 to 23. I always mix up the age and the number categories.
Because you
Every
don't
time.
look at numbers. The jersey numbers. You look at normal numbers.
I think Hal and NKC were right. I think it's Kadarius Tony.
Okay,
Really?
get him in there. Get him in there.
I think it's Kadarius Tony. I really do. It is Kadarius Tony. Kadarius Tony's correct.
old
He's
AF.
24 years old, 6 foot tall, wide receiver for Kansas City in the AFC West, number 19. 4 tries.
Should have listened to the chat.
Got it on 4, but it feels like we should have got it in 2.
Yeah, after getting Noah Gray on the first one. You know what? That's okay, though. That's okay. We got it on the first one, which allowed us to still get it correct. Imagine if we got to Kansas City on like guess 5.
Oh,
we would have been in trouble, man.
We would have been in real trouble.
Also, Hal in here said, man, I was really hoping Tony would get that punt return for a touchdown because I have a lot of his rookie cards.
How did you describe him at one point during the Super Bowl slap? You're like, he looks like a happy astronaut.
Yeah, it was after the I forget, it was after somebody else, Sky Moore's touchdown. They cut to him on the sideline. He had just taken his helmet off, so he had the red like Buzz Lightyear hood on because it was cold as hell out there, and he is just cheesing harder than I've ever seen anybody cheese.
He's
like,
so
the
happy.
Biggest smile, jumping up and down. It looked like he like just returned from space and he sees his family for the first time. Like took his helmet off.
I'm here.
I made it.
I didn't
The
think
moon was great.
Yeah, he is kind of he does look kind of like a cartoon character. Like whenever I see him, like he looks like something that like Kid Cudi would scribble in his notebook, right?
I'm a big fan. I like Kadarius.
I like him too.
I like
yeah.
watching him play. I like watching him on the sideline. He seems like a good teammate. You know what I mean? Like all his teammates love that dude. They're always running up to him. I'm a big fan.
I'm with you.
Guys,
you guys-
coming up. Oh, what's up?
I was
Coop?
just say, have you heard any of his music? I haven't heard any of it, but apparently he's a
haven't.
rapper and he's
I think I did over the last summer, but I don't remember.
I'll check it out.
Maybe during this break, I'll go pull up some Kadarius Tony music. What do you think?
Now it's the
I think
time.
that'd
Come back, and I'm just like going hard to Kadarius Tony. Changes the rest of the show.
Now's the time, dude.
It's coming up. We are going to do the first 2 rounds of a Dynasty startup mock draft. After that, we've got some predictions coming your way for next NFL season. We're going to play a game called Feelin' Lucky Punk, and then we're going to play some Sell Me This Pen as well. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Baby J just wrote in the chat as we went to break that Nick Sirianni is the most punchable face in the NFL.
I think
I
people.
don't see it.
Well, yeah, I think people are bothered, and you saw the Giants bothered by the fact of how he was acting and his antics, and I'm growing a little tired of Kayvon Thibodeau on social media. Everybody
he's bothering me a little bit.
Well, everybody that criticizes Kayvon Thibodeau, he's basically he basically tells you, I don't know who you are, whether it be Jeff Saturday or whether it be Joe Staley.
Yeah.
Julian Love last week going on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and saying Sirianni's in for a free ride. Just look how talented that team is. Well, I mean, I think it's a little unfair if you're a Giant or you're a member or you are a fan of the Giants. You went in there on that Saturday night and you got embarrassed.
Doesn't it feel like sour grapes, right? Like it just feels like
you
guys beat me up, so now I'm just going to try to find a way to beat you down.
So, and if you're Kayvon Thibodeau, enough, shut up. I mean, you're on social media. Enough with the fact that anybody that rips you or criticizes you or going out there and saying or ripping the 49ers who didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship game and saying, well, we could have done a better job than what San Francisco is doing. Well, they didn't have a quarterback. And then Joe Staley calls them out. And then I got to have Michael Strahan tag teaming and jumping in and, and ripping Joe Staley. The fact that Michael Strahan got 2.5 sacks on him during his rookie year where Joe Staley was critical of what Kayvon Thibodeau did this year. I mean, are we serious here?
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I mean, this is really what it's coming down to. I mean, why not hold the young man accountable and say, no, listen, zip it. Enough. Like you don't need to comment on everything, nor do I care. Yeah. You're not Micah Parsons. You're not Lawrence Taylor. You're none of those
But
things.
he thinks he is.
Well, but that's the problem. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. And I would say he has a long way to go.
And maybe he becomes one of the best. He could.
I mean, it's possible. Do I think he's ever going to be Micah Parsons? I don't.
I don't. He's talented.
He's talented. I'm not telling you he's not going to have a successful NFL career. But everybody that criticizes him, he says, I don't know who you are. Well, why don't you look up and have for the men that played in this league before you and what they accomplished in this league? That the league didn't start the day that you stepped foot in the National Football League. And sometimes there's reasons why people are going to go out there. And if you're going to make comments as stupid as he did in the NFC Championship game, you understand that you are going to get called out for it. And if you get called out for being dopey, don't all of a sudden respond with, I don't know who you are.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I saw 234 asking in the chat if I was going to sell my DJ Moore jersey. Everything's for sale for the right price, 234. Everything I own. There's nothing I own that's not for sale for the right price.
I think how much for that oven mitt so I can just get it out of here? I'm tired of looking at it.
$300 for the oven mitt.
I don't know. Grimace Gang, you think we can raise $300 to have a ceremonial burning of that oven
if it's crowdfunding, I'm like a restaurant that charges extra if you add an additional person that's splitting the plate. It goes up to $1,000 if it's being split.
Now you're just trying to take advantage of the Grimace Gang.
100%. Yeah, this is an exploitative practice of the Grimace Gang. I think the Grimace Gang has stolen Jail's voice. Hopefully they give it back soon.
They did it.
Not again. Give it back.
It wasn't the Grimace Gang.
Who was it?
It was Ani Coop.
Not again. I talked to her, and I think I can. Not again. We just had to fight to get it back from her. I talked to her. I think I might be able to convince her to come on the show. I'm gonna try and get her over for a sit next to me here and maybe do a little chat on the show. She got some funny stories, so we'll see. Ani Coop, we're coming for you. We're getting you.
That would be sweet. That would be sweet to get some Ani Coop on the show. Guys, we are about to jump into the first mock draft for us of the NFL offseason. I know I've done some already that were in the fantasy offseason, but it is now officially the NFL offseason, which means it's Dynasty season. So we're going to do the first 2 rounds of a 10-team, 1 quarterback startup Dynasty draft here. And if you want to draft rookies in this, go ahead and draft rookies. I don't want to limit that. We're going to go through the first 2 rounds here. Drafting players, we're each going to take control of a couple different teams in this mock draft. I'm going to have the first pick, the 4th pick, the 7th pick, and the 10th pick. Coop, you're going to have the 2nd pick, the 5th pick, and the 8th pick. Jail, you're going to have the 3rd pick, the 6th pick, and the 9th pick. You know what we could do on that turn? We can make those picks together. So we all have 3 teams, and then that 10th team is our team. Or I can have 4 teams. Whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Or somebody else can have 4 teams.
Let's let the chat have a team.
Chat gets to decide.
Yeah. Well, the 10th team will belong to the chat.
Cool.
Ooh, I like that idea too.
Are we assuming PPR here for this draft, guys?
Yeah, PPR.
Yes. We'll do PPR, and is it going to be super flex or single QB?
Single QB. Single QB for this one. We'll have time to do some more mock drafts. We'll probably get a super flex in there. Let's do it. Hal says he's in. So I got the first overall pick, and I'm not going to have anything super surprising here, guys. Give me the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. The best fantasy wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. He's
2 running back, 3 wide receiver flex.
Yeah, we'll go. Sorry about that. I probably should have laid out the full league settings here. 2 running back, 3 wide receiver. How many flex? 1 flex?
And 1
2
flex?
flex?
Two
1
flex.
flex. So a fairly standard league.
One flex, 2 flex, red flex, blue flex.
There you go.
Justin Jefferson, reach.
Reach.
All right, Simon, I cut you off with your reason. Tell us more about why you picked Justin Jefferson.
There's not too much because he's Justin freaking Jefferson. He's unbelievable. He's broken every record he can break through his first couple seasons in the NFL, and that's probably going to continue.
So am I up now?
Yeah, Coop, you're on the clock. 2nd overall pick.
So I'm going to take the player that I actually have ranked 1st overall, both in Dynasty and at Dynasty wide receiver. I have this guy ranked ahead of Justin Jefferson, believe it or not, and that's Jamar Chase. And the difference maker for me between these two, it's so close for me that you're basically splitting hairs. But I just look at Jamar Chase as a 1st-round pick with 2 years left on his deal, and they can pick up his 5th-year option. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow is also a 1st-round pick where they can pick up his 5th-year option. And Joe Burrow just recently came out and said that he's willing to work with the team on structuring his contract in a way where he can keep the band together. So this guy is locked in as a top 2 target on this team with his college quarterback for the foreseeable future. That type of safety versus Justin Jefferson. Is Kirk Cousins going to be the guy? What's going to go on here? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that little bit of safety is enough to put him ahead for me because they're close enough. I have those 2 in a tier well above everyone else. But that's, for me, why Jamar Chase is the guy I would take 1st overall. Just because you have that safety, that reliability.
I don't
That makes
blame
sense. Yeah, I agree with you. That those 2 guys are in a tier of their own because of this 3rd spot. It feels like I could go a number of different directions and it wouldn't make a difference. Whereas those first 2 picks, you got to go one of those 2 picks.
Exactly. Had you gone Jamar Chase, I would have taken Justin Jefferson. And in redraft, I have Justin Jefferson ahead just because we at least know the situation. We know it's going to be Cousins. We know we liked the offense we saw last year. But in Dynasty, that's the slight difference for me. It's that close. So
the quarterback I get. The top 2 target on his team. I don't care what team you put Justin Jefferson on and what other wide receivers you put on that team. He's a top 2 target on any team. Like, he's got that safety. It doesn't matter if they sign Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and DeAndre Hopkins, right? Justin Jefferson's still a top 2 target.
Yeah, like you would, if there was some way they could go on a time machine and sign like prime Randy Moss and Jerry Rice, then he might be in trouble. But even then, like
he'd compete.
He'd compete. Yeah, like that's the only way he's not a top 2 target. So yeah, that's never a threat. It's the threat for him is that maybe they say, hey, you know what? Time to move on from Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Harrison Smith, Patrick Peterson, all these guys, and Kirk Cousins, and kind of enter like a rebuild, a brief retool rebuild mode, in which case it could get a little scary. We just saw what happened to Deontay Johnson playing with Kenny Pickett. Do we think Deontay Johnson is no longer good? No, but he didn't score a single touchdown because Kenny Pickett only threw 7 touchdowns. That's the concern.
Yikes.
You enter that world of like, of unknown, which is, we know the Bengals are probably not going to end up there because they're about to give Joe Burrow $1 million gazillion.
Yep, I get it. And it's not that you're calling for that to happen for Justin Jefferson. Just that's the tiebreaker between the 2 players.
Exactly.
Yep.
It might not happen.
Yep. John Luke, you're on the clock. Pick 103. And Joey, and you're saying, in redraft, he thinks Kelsey's in conversation for the 101 through 103 for sure. I thought he was saying you should take Kelsey here. Is that what you're going to do?
I would not take Kelsey in either situation. in the first 3 picks of any draft, just for the tight end position, unless it's a 2 tight end league, in which case I would.
I saw that tweet, Scott Fish. Scott Fish said, I tweeted this weekend, who goes 4 after Jefferson, Kelsey, Chase? And I sat there and I held my
See
tongue.
what you did there.
I was like, Scott, you little rascal. But you're not necessarily wrong either to take him in the top 3.
Smack that bait away, Coop.
Yeah, I
Just
did
bait
it
for you.
I was like, the Mad Max meme. I was like, that's bait. I'm not getting in there, Scott. I know what you're doing. I liked it. I think I clicked the like button, but I stayed out. I stayed out of those ones.
The passive aggressive like.
Yeah.
All right, my 3rd pick here, I'm gonna go with Breece Hall.
That's a
I'm
fun
going with
pick.
Breece Hall. Running back, it feels like there's a number of wide receiver options that could go here, but I want to zag a little bit. I want to go to Breece Hall, and I think there's a number of players you can make an argument for here at the number 1 running back in Dynasty. Breece Hall's 21 years old. He is going to be fantastic. He looks so good in the small amounts that we saw him this year. I can't go with Jonathan Taylor here because there's 3.5-year difference between their ages. And for running backs, that does matter. That's significant. That's like 40% of their career.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Breece Hall.
Now, Jail, let me ask you, if we didn't get the video of him on the treadmill, would you still have had the confidence to take Breece Hall here?
I would have, but for different reasons. The cool little device that he had on underneath him that he was running with was pretty sweet. Definitely moved him up in my rankings.
But that was the only reason you were like, this guy has the tech. They have the technology.
He's got a cool toy.
That tech, yeah. But I mean, it does mean like if you look at Javonte Williams right now, Javonte Williams hurt his knee before Breece Hall, but he had multiple different tears versus just the ACL. And you look at it right now, Breece Hall, we're getting clips of him running. Javonte Williams, a little longer recovery time. So it does matter. And I think it is a big boost to Breece Hall's value that we see him. They say the surgery was successful. He's already running. Fantastic news because he looked awesome.
John Luke, that's where I was planning on going with my next pick. I was fully expecting Breece Hall to be sitting there at 4, and that's who I was going to pick up there. It's exciting. Like, that's one of those picks where you get to be excited about it, and there's some safety to it because we got to see a little bit of it this year, right? And then, oddly enough, the team he's on inspires some confidence based on what we saw this year. Like, I trust that the Jets are going to at least be decent next year. Like, they got to figure out their quarterback position, but, like, the Jets were a decent team this year with Zach Wilson, Mike White, and Joe Flacco starting at quarterback.
Right.
Can't get much worse. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Breece Hall. And that Jets offense, again, feels weird 2 off seasons in a row being excited for the Jets. I'm back on the clock. And JL, since you took Breece Hall, I agree with what you said about Jonathan Taylor. So I'm going to change it up a little bit here. And these next 2 guys, they go back and forth 3 and 4 in my Dynasty wide receiver rankings. But because of the excitement of last night, I'm going to give this guy the 3 spot today. And A.J. Brown is going to be my next pick at the 4 spot. It was between him and one other wide receiver, but God, he's so freaking good. And it's exciting watching him and Jalen Hurts together. The big concern there is, obviously, is Devonta Smith going to step up as the 1? I know there's already conversations that people are having that Devonta Smith should be the 1 in that offense. A.J. Brown's the 2 or the 1B to Devonta Smith's 1A. But I think A.J. Brown's securely the 1 there. And this offense could potentially support 2 top 12 wide receivers, even though they run the ball a lot, right? We've seen both of them find success this year.
Yeah, you're right. A.J. Brown was going to be my next Dynasty wide receiver as well, Simon. I like that pick. I think there's a couple players you can make an argument for. I think he's in a tier with a couple players. I don't think he's the definitive next pick here.
Yeah.
But you're right. He made a case for himself this year.
I'm with you, Joe. Not the definitive. This one was a little bit less clear than my first one. Coop, you're on the clock. Where are you going?
I think I'm going to end up taking the guy that I imagine you go back and forth with. A.J. Brown, great pick. And it was an amazing catch he had yesterday. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb here.
He's the next one. Yeah.
And he came in the league so young, 1st-round pick. He's still only 23, though I think he turns 24 this spring. And, the trajectory of his career is exactly what you want to see. Comes out, has 100 targets as a rookie. Not bad stats. 2nd year, cracks the 1,000-yard mark. And then this year, he took it to another level. 156 targets, 1,359 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's locked in. dialed in. So yeah, in these early parts of these drafts, it's all about taking young guys that are already doing it. And then at a certain point, you got to make a decision. Do I want to go young upside or do I want to go with older studs? So for now, we should all just be taking young studs. And so far, it's pretty much been that, right?
Yeah. It's been pretty consistent through that. And a lot of wide receivers so far through the first parts of this draft. Only one running back taken through the first 5 picks. But John Luke, you're back on the clock. You going to take another running back here?
I don't know. I don't know where I want to go here, guys. This feels like the first part of the draft where I'm forced to now pick between one of these older guys and the younger guys that are like a tier below, and I don't know where I should go.
Go with your heart.
Well,
My heart is in the dumpster.
while you're searching your heart, JL, I see we got Illmind in here. What's up, Illmind? Welcome
What up,
in,
Illmind?
my friend. He said, how about those Chiefs?
There we go. Chiefs fans trickling in, dude. Attaboy. Big
Chiefs
see says big Tony fan. If you haven't noticed yet, Illmind. Yeah, I mean, I'd be a big fan of Tony now too. It looks like if I'm them, Juju came. He played his hired gun season. I mean, he even took a pretty cheap contract. He won his Super Bowl. I think Juju's going to get paid, and I think you just move ahead with Tony and Sky Moore, and you're happy to have him. So Chiefs are got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my next pick here. I'm gonna go. God, this sucks. No, it doesn't. I forgot he's still on the board. I'm gonna go Jonathan Taylor.
Good pick.
I completely forgot he was on the board. I thought I was gonna have to pick Christian McCaffrey, and that was gonna feel bad.
Still would have been a good pick, but so like with any,
I just don't like starting Dynasty that way. I really would not like that.
And this is
It
why
really
we
pigeonholes your strategy in when you take Christian McCaffrey there. You have to win now. You can't take pieces for the future. They got to be for this year.
I think in general, to be honest, like we're at the stage of running backs, like it's the modern running back. It's so rare to have a Derek Henry that even if you take Jonathan Taylor, like that team needs to be a win now team. So, like, of these teams, I feel like once you take a Jonathan Taylor or a Saquon Barkley or a Christian McCaffrey, now you're playing to win right now. So, I think
Jonathan Taylor, I feel like, has a little bit more trade value where, like, Christian McCaffrey's getting to the point where I think it's going to start becoming more and more difficult in Dynasty to trade him.
Right. But either way, like if I'm, like, so say you start this year and, right, like, you know, your team, like, what situation leads you to trade Jonathan Taylor? Like if you're winning now, you're not going to trade him away. And another team in your league, if they're struggling and they're not winning now, they're not going to trade for a running back. So it's almost like he's one of those players that teams that are competing now want, right? Whereas any team would want Justin Jefferson, anyone would want Jamar Chase because they're 23 to 24-year-old wide receivers. And the age apex for wide receivers is legit like 27, 28 years old, which running backs at that age, we look at them and they're virtually done. So it really is. There's a big difference between the two positions.
That puts me back on the clock, and I'm going to take the guy that we were talking about right there. I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey with this next pick. And I don't feel too bad about it. I just think it does make it pretty clear this team is much less concerned about age and way more concerned about immediate value with a running back like Christian McCaffrey on it.
You nailed it, Simon. It locks you into that strategy, and I don't like making that decision that locks me in, adds so many constraints in round one. Like that to me in a draft does not feel good.
Yeah, I get it. But at a certain point, like Christian McCaffrey becomes the best player on the board, right? Yes. And you got to go that way, even if it's against the strategy that you like to use.
100%. And that's the exact struggle I was dealing with. Is I knew that time was coming, but I didn't like it.
You're back on the clock.
Right. So this is where, so now I'm in that decision mode where the options I have are to go the same direction you guys just went, right? Where I take a running back and I compete now, or I can skew more towards younger prospect side where maybe my team isn't competing to win right now. And it's more of a long haul type play.
A little Honey Bijan.
So I'm actually going to go not because I think anytime you're taking a running back, you need to be competing to win now. So I'm going to give an example of a player that you take if maybe you are going to play for the long haul. Maybe I'm the guy that trades away pick like my picks in this startup draft for rookie picks and stuff like that. So I'm going to take Garrett Wilson. That's the pick. If you want to be somebody that plays for the long term, that's the type of guy you go for. He just won Rookie of the Year. The upside is there, but is he a team that next year is going to carry your team? Not necessarily. But what you're hoping is that I just took, like, say Christian McCaffrey, you're taking him because you think he's got how many more years of elite play, do you think?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. Garrett Wilson, I'm taking this pick because I look at it and I say, I might have a decade here with this guy, right? 22 years old, right? You could get 7, 8 years of play out of this guy, but I don't know what I'm getting. So it's like, that's a direction you kind of got to decide. Once I pick Garrett Wilson, I'm not going to turn back around and take Derrick Henry next round, right? Because I'm getting into I'm not setting my team up to have a direction, to have a focus. So give me Garrett Wilson with this team, and then now team 8 for me is going to be a team that I am skewing younger guys, skewing towards the future.
Makes sense. I like that pick. It's not where I was expecting you to go, but he has shot his way up boards. And not only is it like you could have him for 7, 8 years, he also, like, to go back to a point Jail brought up, hasn't reached his value apex yet, hypothetically. Know what I mean? If his career keeps on going on the same trajectory, his value should be higher this time next year and higher the year after that. Whereas Christian McCaffrey, Joe, you're probably right, his value is on the decline. We already know how good he is, and he's not getting better.
Yeah,
so
you
like,
got to know where you are on that slope, because
Exactly.
it really affects what you're going to be able to do. You can't. It's really difficult to trade players on the downward slope end of their careers.
And you,
Joe,
you just may not like what you get back.
Joe, you pointed this out a couple shows ago, which I thought was an amazing point. So I'm going to echo it. You said that you go into these rookie drafts and you have your rankings and you know what's going on, but you don't know what direction you're going to go until the draft starts unfolding. Yeah. For me, like this team 8, this hypothetical team 8, I didn't know that this team was going to skew young and be a productive struggle, play for the future type team until you guys started making your picks. And then it became clear to me, you took the 2 older running backs I would have taken there. So I'm now going this direction. Had you taken younger guys and Christian McCaffrey was there, then maybe I take Christian McCaffrey and now my team's going a totally different direction. So good point by JL that you made the other day. Be fluid and then play it as it lies, as Happy Gilmore might say.
So yeah, no, it is a good point. The strategy should depend on your league mates, because you don't want to follow your league mate strategy. That's not a winning strategy. Everybody's going to lose if everybody follows the same strategy. So you want to stand out somehow. It's a good point.
Exactly.
John Luke, you're back on the clock now. Pick number 9 of the first round. Where are you going?
Pick number 9. This is tough. I could go running back here. There are 2 running backs who I think deserve to be in the conversation here in the first round. I think I'm going to stick wide receiver, though. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is young. He's 24 years old. He's part of this Miami Dolphins offense, which is this team, which I think is going to be fantastic the next few years. I believe in Mike McDaniel. I think he knows what he's doing. And Jalen Waddle is a star. I think he's a solid complement to Tyreek Hill. And I think he's going to be fantastic for Dynasty going forward.
The setup from this offense is so conducive to have highly consolidated targets among the top 2 wide receivers. And the reason is something that people might not recognize, but it's because they use a fullback. It's because they use a fullback. They have a 2-way tight end, right? So you have 11 guys on the field, 5 linemen, a quarterback, and a running back. That's 7 right there. Normal offenses will have a tight end and 3 wide receivers. Anytime you use a fullback, you're not taking the tight end out. You're taking one of those wide receivers. So every time you bring in that fullback, that means it's only 2 wide receiver sets. That's why outside of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you didn't really have a 3rd wide receiver because Alec Ingold is playing 40% of the snaps. I love that for fantasy football, especially for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that they get to be the only 2 guys playing all the snaps. It's a beautiful thing. So Jalen Waddle is so locked in with Tua. Trey Bone, good pick.
Jalen Waddle.
Give me the goosebumps. Give me the goosebumps, Coop.
Trey Bone.
Trey Bone.
We got the 10th pick here now. Where are we going with this 10th pick? Chat, give us your opinion on who should be drafted here. I'm going to do a quick rundown of the first round while we're figuring out this pick. The first overall pick was Justin Jefferson, followed by Jamar Chase, Breece Hall at the 3 spot, A.J. Brown at 4, then CeeDee Lamb at 5, followed by Jonathan Taylor, CMC, and Garrett Wilson, and then Jalen Waddle at the 9. Hallen here saying Isaiah Pacheco. I think it's probably a little early for Pacheco. Then Trenton saying Amon-Ra, then Bijan. Hal agreeing with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the names I would have brought up here as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown as a potential pick. He's not up there for me, but I understand the hype.
Yeah,
I think he deserves to be in the conversation for sure. Would you guys take Tyreek Hill over Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I would, but that's me. I'm a little bit less I play more age agnostic whenever it comes to Dynasty.
It depends. So you have the swing pick here, right? That's what 10 is. If it depends on the direction you're going. Like if I was going to go with Amon-Ra, now I'm doing what Trenton's doing, and I'm taking Bijan, and I'm taking the younger upside plays. If I'm going Tyreek Hill, then I'm going to take Saquon Barkley here or somebody like that. And I'm just going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going Tyreek. I'm winning right now. Give me the window for Tyreek is probably 3-4 years of elite play. The window for Saquon at age 26 is probably 2, 3, maybe 4 years of elite play. I'm taking that. And I mean, if you take Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley, and they're Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley, you're immediately probably the favorite of these teams that we have. Right. So I like that. Hal confirming Hill, or he says Hill and Amon-Ra. Trenton says Amon and Bijan. What do you guys think, chat? We need one more. I think Amon-Ra seems to be one of the picks. Does somebody else want to come in and weigh in, Bijan or Tyreek Hill? And then we'll make those picks for the chat team.
We'll get Amon-Ra in there already. And NKC voting for Jalen Hurts. Pick Jalen Hurts in a one quarterback league. It's a little bit too early to take Jalen Hurts. But he'll definitely be one of the first quarterbacks drafted if we keep this rolling.
We got Jedi in the chat. So how about those Chiefs?
Again?
Tony. Oh, you already went through those? I missed it.
We did, but that's okay.
Did you go through Rendon's comment?
No, I did not read Rendon's comment.
Rendon said, refs ruined the game on one call. Wish we could have seen what happened. They ruined the Super Bowl. I think that was Simon's overwhelming point was like, man, what would have been that game if they didn't make that call towards the end?
I just want to know. I want to see the drive by Jalen Hurts. Like, I just want to see the Eagles have a shot to drive down the field.
Jimmy Sampson said, yo, boys, hope all is well. FKC.
I mean, that's the thing, man. Even the guys I was with that were betting on the Chiefs to win, after the Chiefs won, they were like happy they won their bet, but a lot of more Patriots fans. And then now they you could see their minds turning, and they're like, we got to start really rooting against these guys if we want to protect the dynasty, if we want to protect the legacy. We got to start rooting against Kansas City pretty hard. Yeah. So hey Jimmy, while we got you here, would you, in a startup dynasty, would you take with this pick Bijan Robinson, or would you take Tyreek Hill? We need one vote on one of those two guys so we can get the chat team fired up here. What you got?
Scott Fish said, this is the best morning show I watch for fantasy.
Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder how many other morning shows he's watching.
I wonder all the morning shows he watches fantasy.
Also, we NKC in here saying Tyreek Hill. So we're going to go Tyreek Hill with the second pick on this team. So team 10 is starting with a 2 wide receiver set. Jimmy also saying Tyreek. So we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tyreek Hill. And Coop, I know you mentioned going a little bit younger with this pick if we start with Amon-Ra, but with wide receiver, I'm a little bit less concerned. It's not like Tyreek Hill is done. He probably still has 3+ years left near his prime, right? Like near his elite level status. So you can still roll together a winning team with a combination of the slightly younger player.
He is 29.
Jalen Waddle had fallen just one more pick, that 10th team could have gone Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jalen Waddle, and it would have been
in full PPR too. In full PPR, you got to throw out ADOT out the window. Although, like with Jalen Waddle, the concern I had for him was his ADOT was like 7 or 8 yards with his first couple years there, or his first year as rookie. Last year, up to over 11 yards. I was just looking at the other day because I mentioned his ADOT, and somebody was like, nah, that changed with McDaniel. It's just the 2 wide receiver system. So I mean, like with Waddle,
ADOT being the average depth of target, which is where they how deep their targets are basically in the field.
Yeah. So the average depth of target, it's big, especially for if you play in half PPR or standard. Average depth of target is huge because certain guys, even if they get a ton of receptions, they're not really racking up the yards. So, but this is full PPR anyway. So, all right, who is? It's back to
Don
team.
Luke. John Luke is
Oh,
back on the clock.
shoot.
And Jail, this is the team that drafted Jalen Waddle in the first round. NKC said now Jalen Hurts. Has it been long enough in a one quarterback league for you to take Jalen Hurts now, Jail?
No. No, you're not going to like where I would take Jalen Hurts in a one quarterback league. You're not going to like me when I'm angry. All right, I'm going to go running back here. Question is which running back? I'm going to go Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Over Bijan Robinson, over Kenneth Walker, you're going Travis Etienne.
Yep.
That was the
Tell us
pick
a
I was
little bit about
trying to get you to make that pick earlier. I was like, go
I
with
thought
your
about
heart.
it.
Go with your heart. I
Oh,
knew
your
that was
heart,
the
yeah.
guy. Yeah. But that's a great pick. I mean, look at they traded away James Robinson and used him on 70% of the snaps. I mean, that's like what we asked for, right? That's all we want in this world.
I think the argument could be made for Kenneth Walker. He is a year or 2 younger, 2 years younger, I believe, than Travis Etienne. But I don't think that necessarily is everything here. And I don't know that I'd rather have Etienne on that Jaguars offense than Kenneth Walker on the Eagles offense. Dynasty.
I don't mind it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good pick. I'm going to make my pick next. For the sake of time, this is team 8. And now that I've given myself a direction by taking Garrett Wilson and skewing super young, this next pick becomes easy for me. I'm not going to go with somebody, I wouldn't take a Tyreek Hill who's 29. I wouldn't take a Derek Henry. It becomes easy for me to take Bijan Robinson. I'm already going young upside with Garrett Wilson. I'm going to double down on that and go young upside with Bijan Robinson. If it works, now I have 2 young studs with 5-6 years. I mean, like that's the dream. The risk is obviously we don't even know Bijan Robinson's never played professional football, so we don't know what's going to happen. With the Jets, we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. There's a lot of risk with this team, but there's a lot of upside. So give me Bijan Robinson to go with Garrett Wilson.
Coop all in on the Jets. And I see NKC in here again saying, do Jalen or did you already? In a one quarterback league, generally quarterbacks won't be drafted in the first 2 rounds. So we're not going to draft Jalen Hurts today, most likely going through this. We usually see the first quarterback come off the board around the 4th round oftentimes. And then sometimes even the 6th, 7th. And even if Jalen Hurts is the second quarterback drafted, it may be in the 5th or 6th round. That's not saying he's not good. He's unbelievable. But position value, we're probably not going to be drafting him today. He's still arguably a top 2, top 3 dynasty quarterback, though.
Bingo. I would start considering him in the 3rd round. Those guys. If you could go back in time and take Peyton Manning in like his 2nd or 3rd year, that would be the most valuable dynasty pick. Right?
The number of fights Tim and I have had because we played fantasy and he drafted Peyton Manning in the 1st round the year he threw 50 touchdowns and he swore after that QB in the 1st round was the best strat. Like we have had screaming matches over that strategy. It's like, no, that was it's good to take Peyton Manning throwing 50 touchdowns in the 1st round, not quarterbacks in general.
We've seen a few of those years, though. We've seen a few of those years where a quarterback if you have the right quarterback, you're impossible to beat. Cam Newton, that year he threw 36 and ran for 10. Like some of these years, it's just if you have the right guy, it's over.
My friend auto drafted in our high school home league that year and won the whole thing. Freaking Peyton Manning.
Freaking Peyton Manning.
And
it is the auto draft teams that'll draft those, right? Like if everybody's in there,
they'll go QB.
They'll get the QB.
In one of my homer leagues up here in New England, one year a kid took Tom Brady. A kid took Tom Brady and Randy Moss, and they combined for 73 touchdowns.
That's absurd.
Tom Brady threw 50 touchdowns, and then Randy Moss set the record for wide receivers with 23.
Disgusting.
We all called him. We were like, "Look at this homer, steamrolled us, dude." He also had Gostkowski. It was so stupid. It was just every week I'm playing. Whenever you go against him, you had to root against the Patriots, and they were wagging. That was 2007, I think. Ridiculous.
I see Tim in the chat saying, stay mad. He shows up. He remembers those fights. And NKC said, so you're drafting him tomorrow? I'll be back then.
All right. See you tomorrow.
He's just kidding, though. He's staying around. It's back to my pick. And this is the team that drafted Christian McCaffrey first. And guys, because it's a dynasty league, this elite older running back value is just falling and falling and falling. I'm going to take Saquon Barkley here. and I'm going to start Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and have to be the clear favorite to win this league year one. As long as I don't mess this up after that. But through the first 2 rounds, starting CMC, Saquon, like, man, for next year, I'm not sure there's a better team going into it.
That's how you do it, dude. That's how you do it. And I know we might continue this draft later. Who knows? But now, if I'm you, I go in my rankings and I start highlighting older guys that are on like studs right now that would go super early in redraft and are only falling because of their age. In fact, Simon, if I'm you with that team you have, I might even just throw away my dynasty rankings and just pull up my redraft ranking. Right. And
I don't like going too far into that strategy because I've seen it go wrong. We had a guy who did this in our main dynasty league who it was his first dynasty league, and he ended up leaning into the strategy going, well, everybody is saying older players are undervalued, so I'm just going to lean in that, go straight older values. We called him he had the geriatric squad. And the next year he realized I might have gone too hard into that, because not only did he not win year one, but now he was the most under leveraged team in the entire league because he had no future assets. Nobody wanted to trade for those assets. He only went for the redraft strategy. So I do think it is worth considering hedging here as well.
The great news is you can hedge without giving up your strategy through the wide receiver position. The wide receiver position going forward is how you balance this team out, because there are win now wide receivers that aren't 27, 28, that are 24, 25, 23, 24.
Yeah, you got to win those middle rounds.
You grab Chris Olave, you grab Devonta Smith, you grab Treylon Burks, you grab George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
Like those are the names that you grab.
That's where you get your leverage.
Use it as a tiebreaker though, because like you want to win now. But the question is, if you're sitting there and in your mind you think in this year the older guy is going to have the better season, do you still take the younger guy? That's the real tough question.
I probably take the older guy there.
It depends on the leverage. It depends on the equation, right? Like how heavily that the younger player, like what kind of leverage they have compared to the older player, and what sort of performance are we going to get from the older player compared to that leverage. See what I'm saying? Like, it depends on that trade-off equation.
Well, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say we come back around to the other side, right? And you're sitting on the clock and you're picking between Michael Pittman, who still is fairly young. He's proven that he can be a number 1 wide receiver, or you could take Devontae Adams. Who's 30. He's a stud, but he's 30 years old. It's like now you got, because there's not going to be, you can't turn around and take Chris Olave later, because Chris Olave is not going to get back to you. I'll tell you that right now. So it's like you got to kind of weigh that out. And I think with Simon's team, that's a good tiebreaker. Versus if I'm sitting here with my Bijan Robinson, Garrett Wilson team, I think it's a big mistake for me to take Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I think like where it gets tricky is a little bit further down. If I'm looking at like DeAndre Hopkins versus Deontay Johnson, right? Like that's the tricky decision for me. Yeah. Where do I go? Because I do think DeAndre Hopkins scores more points next year, but I'm so uncertain about his situation as well. Deontay Johnson significantly younger. I probably still go D-Hop, but that's where that line is. That's where I'm getting curious.
And recognize that there's not only two, you don't have to go on 2 extreme builds, right? What we're talking about are two types of builds that are on either ends of a single spectrum here. But really, the strategy comes into play when you have, you can also like mix and match to have a good strategy. What's called, like, I like this approach to drafting. It's a balanced approach. So pairing a Devontae Adams with a younger guy, and you get that complementary aspect where you get the Devontae Adams production right now, but you also get that leverage and pairing it, just like Simon was saying, get that somewhere else in your draft. You don't have to go all win now or all not win now.
You don't have to, but you know, it can help you make it's very useful for tiebreakers at the very least, right?
Yeah.
John Luke, you're back on the clock with your Jonathan Taylor team. Who are you taking here?
All right, I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker. I left him on the board the last time, and I think that he deserves to go here. I think he's in the conversation with these running backs. 21 years old. Crazy. He's got a long, just a little baby.
He probably in most drafts, I would expect him to go before now. I think he probably should have already gone.
Yeah. Yep. The values here. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gone running back with the Jonathan Taylor start with this team, but the value is there. He's the best player on the board.
Coop, you're back on the clock with your CeeDee Lamb team here.
Yes. So with this CeeDee Lamb team, I'm going to stay the course and just take solid, youngish wide receivers that I think can be the core of this team for a while. So I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb in the first round. I'm going to come back and take DK Metcalf with this pick. So now I just have two hosses that I think I can build around and go whatever direction I want now. Still with this particular team, I can skew old if I want. I can go young if I want. I haven't reached the part of the draft where I have to make a decision. Whereas Christian McCaffrey team, you take Christian McCaffrey in the first round, now you've chosen your direction. With CeeDee Lamb and Metcalf, I think my options are still open. I can go up, I can go down.
Yeah, that's true. DK Metcalf's an interesting pick. I don't think I would have gone for him this early, but I respect it because he's crazy talented.
He's only 25, so he's
same as AJ Brown.
The age apex, we're coming into it right now. 26, 27, 28. That's when wide receiver, like historically, the top wide receiver seasons, the 1,500, 1,600 yard seasons, that's the age that you hit those guys. When Antonio Brown was the wide receiver 1 overall 4 straight years in PPR, it was through that age range.
Yeah. I see Hal wanted us to draft DK Metcalf a little while ago, almost 10 minutes ago, wanted us to draft him. So probably happy seeing DK Metcalf come off the board. NKC saying pick Pittman. And I am on the clock here now, but I'm not going to be taking Michael Pittman. And NKC also saying AJ Brown or Devonta Smith. AJ Brown's been drafted, but I will not be taking Devonta Smith either. I'm debating here between two different players, but I think I'm going to go Stephon Diggs with this pick. With AJ Brown, I feel like I can go either direction, right? And both of these picks don't force my hand either way because they're young enough that they're going to be relevant for the next, 3, 4, 5 years probably, but they're not so old that they're like retiring out of the league or losing value rapidly already. So I'm going to go Stephon Diggs here. I feel like it's a good pairing with AJ Brown to start this draft.
Yeah, Diggs is the same. Him and Tyreek Hill to me are in the same boat. If you're taking Tyreek Hill, you should be willing to take Diggs. They're both 29 years old, but they're gonna have this. What?
I hate that he's 29 years old. I hate that I'm almost 29 years old. I don't like it.
That's wrong. 29 is a great age to be. You're in your prime, dude. You're at the age apex for wide receivers.
I know, and I don't like that.
Analysts. Yeah.
My favorite day is Thursday.
You're at your age apex for wide receiver, JL?
No, I feel like I'm far past it.
I straight up forgot how old I was. Like 2 days ago, I was getting my car. I was at the mechanic, and he's like, "How old are you?" And I was like, "What kind of question is that?" I have
Nobody's asked me that before.
No idea. I'm like, I don't remember what I told him, dude.
Carry the one.
Yeah.
You're like, my car is a 2007.
No, how old are you?
Yeah,
2007.
Oil change. I need my oil change.
Oil change, please. Oil change.
So yeah, but again with wide receivers, Diggs has at least 3 more years of being super high end, and then he'll probably be relevant for until he's 34, 35. So be good.
How's the jail? I'm 39 and have my first kid at 29. Your brain isn't finished growing until you're 30. You know what, Hal? I trust that because I was just talking to my nephew, who's 16, and I was like, man, you don't know anything. Like when I look back to what my brain was in high school, I didn't know shit.
I thought I knew everything though.
I thought I knew the whole world, but I did not know anything. I did not even understand anything.
I'm gonna start using what Hal just said on you guys. Like if you guys are pissing me off or you say something I disagree with, I'm just gonna be like, well, your brain doesn't stop growing until you're 30, so you wouldn't really get it.
You don't get it.
You guys don't get it.
Got underdeveloped brain.
I've actually done that to you guys before. I was like, your generation, as if we're not like right in the same age. Yeah. You kids, right? Me and Tommy do that in the chat. You kids these days, All right, who's up?
Get that too much.
John Luke is on the clock. What you got?
All right, Breece Hall is the first pick here on this team. I'm gonna go with Kyle Pitts as my next pick.
Love it.
I was waiting for it. I almost did it with my last one, JL. It was between him and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, 22 years old, tight end. He's going to have a crazy career. I'm just going for that lifetime value. I think you can make an argument for some other tight ends here. One other tight end here.
Two other tight ends here.
Kyle Pitts, the age thing is going to be a difference for me.
I'll tell you right now, the only concern that you could I feel like personally, the only concern you could possibly have for Kyle Pitts is that they at some point change him from tight end to wide receiver. And then you know, that's like, this is a wide receiver that you can start at your tight end spot. And here's some crazy info, dynasty wise. Travis Kelce didn't have his first 1,000-yard season until he was 27 years old. Zach Ertz, you know, finished as a top 5 tight end like 5 years in a row. He's only had 1,000-yard season. He had that season when he was 28 years old. Kyle Pitts had already had his first 1,000-yard season at 21. Right now he's 22. He's basically locked in across from he's locked in as a top 2 target on this team. All they got to do is find a quarterback, and when they do, it's going to be wheels up. So I'm fully in on Kyle Pitts. If you didn't take him, I was going to take him.
I feel like Mark Andrews probably came into the league older than Kyle Pitts is right now.
Yeah, no, he did. Like, and Mark Andrews wasn't even the top tight end picked on his own team in the draft that year. They took Hayden first, you know. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
That's a good draft though.
Yeah, Mark Andrews, he only has one 1,000-yard season, and he had that 1,000-yard season at age 26. So
there we go. Hal said, "Is Pickens still available?" George Pickens is still available. And Jimmy said, "What about Dulcich?" I'm a Broncos fan, so that's biased, but he seemed to come along well. Way too early to draft him, but
feeling good about him.
Yeah. Well, Coop, you're on the clock. Where are you rolling here?
This is my team 2 with Jamar Chase.
Indeed, it is.
It is that team. I can go 2 directions here, and this is why I feel like, you know, JL likes to be more balanced. He says like, "Oh, you don't have to go one way or the other." Well, I'm looking at 2 running backs right now, and I do have to kind of make a decision on whether I want to go all in on winning now or play it for the long haul, right? So just because we're doing this as an exercise, I'm looking at DeAndre Swift or I'm looking at Austin Eckler as the 2 running backs I'm considering right now. Very different directions. One's 27, but he was the number 1 running back in this format last year in Austin Eckler. The other's DeAndre Swift, who is young. He's got upside, but he's not quite ready to rock and roll, you know? So I'm going to, with this team, try and win now. So I'm going to go Austin Eckler with this pick.
Austin Eckler with this pick. Go win now. Jamar Chase, Austin Eckler. And Coop, you so beautifully narrated what I was thinking here, like with this team, because Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, it puts us in a similar position, right? We have these elite for the future assets that are also the best at their position right now. They are win now pieces that are also built for the future pieces. You can do both of these guys. So you can go whichever direction you want. And there's another running back, Derek Henry, still just sitting there looking at me. That's real tempting to take. There's also another wide receiver. A couple of them sitting over there, maybe a little bit older, that's tempting to take. Devontae Adams sitting there, right? Maybe you want to grab Devontae Adams in the second round to pair with Justin Jefferson. Or maybe I want to go the young route. Younger. T. Higgins is a little bit younger, right? And I compare Justin Jefferson with T. Higgins and have 2 young stud wide receivers to start my draft. And I think that's what I'm going to do. NKC over here saying T. Higgins. I'm agreeing with him. And I'm going to put T. Higgins as my second wide receiver.
I would have cried if you didn't go T. Higgins there.
Really?
If you went Derrick Henry over T. Higgins in Dynasty year, I would have screamed.
I have Jamar Chase already. If I took T. Higgins, then I might as well just take Burrow next time around and just be the Bengals.
What's your team name? Yeah, where are the Bengals?
The Bengals.
Why you name the Bengals? Well, just look.
That's not even that's a pretty good dynasty team. And Joe Burrow just recently said that he's willing to take a friendly contract to keep the band together. So maybe T. Higgins is hanging around.
Hey,
it sounds like T. Higgins wants to hang around too. I mean, it seems like they have so much. How would you not want to stay a part of that team if you're part of that young core? Know what I mean? Like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. Like, of course those guys want to stay together. They got unfinished business.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to bring home that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see that offense next year, because from what I'm reading, though, it's looking like Joe Mixon's a likely cap casualty on that Bengals team. That there's a very real chance he's not on that team next year, that he'll be cut.
Who?
So Joe Mixon.
Oh.
I mean,
we'll have to see what that offense looks like.
Samaje Perine season.
Imagine. Just think about it. Once upon a time, people were picking Samaje Perine in rookie drafts ahead of Alvin Kamara. And it's like, maybe, hey, it was a long game all along. Kamara's going to get suspended this year. Samaje Perine might get a bigger role. You just had to hold on.
Illmind Jedi said Samaja Mapipi, getting real excited.
Still my favorite.
Wait.
Still my favorite Dino team name. Samaj Mapipi.
What if the Bengals draft, let Joe Mixon walk, and then draft Bijan Robinson? Put him under that Bengals offense.
Whoa, careful now, dude.
That would
That's
be
level 9
so
thinking,
much
dude.
fun. That's the highest level of military thinking.
That might be, dude. That might be too. But we're not allowed to have stuff like that, bro.
Where's Bijan gonna go? You guys think he'll be a first rounder?
Bengals. Me and Hal now. We're all on Bijan to the Bengals.
No, I mean
think
where in the draft, not where the team.
I think you will.
I don't know where the draft is this year. It's been in Vegas recently.
Oh my
I give up.
God! Stop.
Give up.
Why is it always in it? Vegas is obviously where you want to have it. Why was it in Indianapolis or the combines in Indianapolis? Why were the drafts?
Yeah,
in the
Lucas
combine?
Oil.
I don't know, dude. What is there to do in Indianapolis?
It's
Sorry.
a premier destination for
Combine.
visiting the Indianapolis landmarks and museums.
Andrew Luck.
Off the top of your head, what do you? Indianapolis, go. What are you doing first day?
Andrew Luck.
Strip club with Andrew Luck.
I mean, now you got a day. Now you're
Watching
talking.
Andrew Luck perform at a strip club.
I imagine he's just in the corner.
He would be he would be in the corner like reading a book. That's what I picture. Andrew Luck just reading a good book in the corner of the strip club, taking a little peek
On his Kindle
Nicholas Sparks.
Paperwhite.
I don't know. Folks that have been to Indianapolis in the chat, please let me know what you do.
What is
What
there to do?
what exactly do you do there?
I see
How do you
NKC saying
spell
draft T. Higgins if he is still available. We drafted him. Last pick of the second round. He is on that first team with Justin Jefferson.
He's in
Producer-
safe.
Producer Keith says the Indy 500. Yeah, if I show up tomorrow, I'm just gonna say, can you guys do the Indy 500 today instead of in May? Can we fast forward? Can we just do one today?
You think they would do it, Coop?
For me, no. But for you,
Wow.
for you guys, probably not.
To answer your question, Coop, the Idle George Museum is a must-see while you're in Indianapolis.
Ooh, I love museums, dude. There's no.
I've never
no
been
doubt
to
about it.
Indianapolis. I'm lying. I'm sorry if you're from there. I don't even know if that's a good museum.
I bet it is.
Guys,
Sounds good.
coming up, we've got a couple games we're going to play. We're going to play some Feeling Lucky Punk, and then we're going to play Sell Me This Pen. If you're enjoying what we're doing here, you should head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Hit that like button on this video and make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any of the other stuff we're putting out. We do game shows on Tuesdays. We put out
Thursdays,
clips
too.
from our show and on Thursdays, so make sure you're over there on our channel, not missing any of that. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Now being joined by Dylan Robbins, the CEO of Lucra.
Lucra is a unique new platform, but it really has a basis and a very simple idea is that we think that people want to bet with their friends, right? Our product is built off the fact that the casual fan is at the bar or at their buddy's house and they're putting $5 on the game and they're doing it on Venmo. And I think that there's a huge opportunity to open the market up to all these casual fans. A lot of people who feel boxed out by the traditional sports books because they're too complicated or there's complex jargon. They don't understand the lines or the spreads. And so Lucra's goal is to just make it simple. And our favorite way of doing that is we just connect you directly with your friends. So it's a social platform. It's peer-to-peer. We're not the house. We don't take any risk on these wagers. We just are a marketplace to kind of connect you with your friends directly to engage. So it started as just a business for sports. We've expanded outside of sports now. We offer 150 recreational games from cornhole to beer pong to darts to Weddle to Peloton. You name it. You can challenge your friends now on Lucra. And you've got all the gaming and tracking and stats and leaderboards to go with it to make it fun. So it's a bit about what we do, and excited to chat with you guys about it today.
What's the future growth of Lucra?
Good question. I think for us, it's really the expansion outside of sports. I think that we've proven that sports is a great model. We've got a ton of great customers who love our sports product, but we're really paving the way or really innovating on this recreational game side of our business as we think about all these unique categories and areas where people are competing. Spike ball, pickleball, all these things that are blowing up across the globe right now. Lucra is the first real way where people can bet with their friends on these games. And so we're getting a lot of new customers from that, a lot of brand awareness from that. And I think we're just trying to iterate that product, make it more fun, make it easier. But we're going to keep our ethos the same, casual, social, and fun. That's what Lucra's about. Our average contest is $10. This is not about bankrupting your friends. It's not about winning big and paying your rent. It's about the magic of the moment and making that moment better by having $5 on the line. If you ever played a round of golf on Sunday or watched a football game, you guys get it. You put a few bucks on it. It just changes the way you interact with that game. You watch it longer. You spend more money there. And it gives us a lot of time for us to, an opportunity for us to partner with other brands because of that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We killed JL and stole Coop's voice.
One of us had to be killed. We drew straws. Ended up being in jail. Sorry, JL's mom in the chat. But you can adopt us as your new podcast sons. There he is. Oh, no. That's supposed to be.
We told you to keep the camera off.
Keep the camera off him. Oh, man.
Wait,
Sorry, everybody.
Whew, thank God. Just kidding. We didn't kill him. We did draw straws. Put the fear in him that we were going to, and then said, "We'll let you
Fear
live
of
this
God."
time." It was an introduction, and it was an appetizer to the game. You feeling lucky, punk?
Feeling lucky, punk.
Joe, you feeling lucky now after that?
Oh, I'm feeling so lucky. I just died.
And you're back.
Let's go.
Also, we had Ernie in the chat saying there are tunnels that connect Lucas Oil to the hotels. It's a very convenient location with everything being within a couple of blocks.
What
So you
hotels? He said
The-
hotels.
The hotels.
Is Indianapolis all hotels?
Yeah.
It's a city of hotels.
Welcome to Indianapolis.
Sounds beautiful.
Stay
Anywhere.
anyway.
The finest continental breakfast.
Welcome to Indy. Pick a room. Anywhere. Indy, hire us. Sponsored by the Indianapolis Board for Tourism.
Yes.
You can take tunnels to other hotels. That way you don't have to
Well,
go
guys,
outside.
We're getting into our game of feeling lucky, punk. This is the game of making bets and then backing it up with your actions. I am going to propose a challenge to one of our contestants, and they're going to play a little bit of intellectual chicken with said challenge. You're going to bid up each other to determine who's going to get to play, and you got to put your money where your mouth is afterwards and prove that you can do what you said you were going to do. I may say something like, how many of the top 10 PPR wide receivers can you name from this past season? You guys would make bets. Coop thinks he can name 6 of them. JL thinks he can name 7. Coop taps out after that. JL, you then have to name 7. Get all of them. You will get those points. But miss any at any point, Coop will get your points. Your opponent is going to take them. Now, after you have named the amount that you said you were going to name or whatever the challenge is, done the amount of things you said you were going to do, you can keep going if you want to for double the points for every single one that you name. But get one wrong, and it goes to your opponent. It is all pushing your luck right there. Your opponent gets all the points that you would have earned. We'll play a couple rounds. See who has the most points at the end of that will be our You Feeling Lucky Punk champion for today. You guys ready?
So
yeah.
I just now realized that one of the ones we had last time, I had to text like hogs up to my family members, and I got a point. I had to do 4.
Yeah.
But I could have kept texting more and more of my family members to get more points and just confusing them.
You could have. You missed
coulda,
out on
yeah.
those points and on confusing your family members.
That was a very confusing morning for most of my family.
I need to randomize the order here. Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You are going first.
Yes.
You've got the
Very
first
scientific.
bet. Jail's going to go second, and our
Simon
very
just
scientific.
loves Coop.
Mm.
Coop,
Why don't you marry me?
Hey, Coop. Why don't you marry me?
So will you or
Okay.
ah.
The day before my half birthday.
What
How
happened?
romantic.
not Valentine's Day, which would be the more nothing more romantic than a half birthday.
It's my running joke that's not funny anymore with my girlfriend. Know what I mean? Like the joke that you say 1,000 times and it stops being funny. It's I can't wait for tomorrow. What do you want to do for my half birthday? Instead of what do you want to do tomorrow? Or what's our plans for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I don't even know when my half birthday is, but it's already gone by.
You missed it. Well, guys, here is your first prompt. Are you guys ready for your first prompt? How many of the Super Bowl champions in reversed chronological order can you name? So starting with the one that just happened, going backwards in order without getting them wrong. How many in a row can you name? Coop.
I bet I could name. And is there an upper limit on this contest? Or I guess it would be
however many. I mean, if you think you can do 30 of them, then say 30, but you're going to have to prove it. Whatever you say.
I'll do 7.
7. You think you can do the last 7 Super Bowl champions? JL, what about you? You think can you beat 7? Are you going to let Coop play at 7?
7's a pretty high number. I'll let Coop play.
Hey, all right. Okay, we're going in reverse order. Teams that won the Whoopty Bowl, teams that won the big game. Well, I'm going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs.
That is correct. They won yesterday. Good memory, Coop. So that is 1.
The one before that was on a Coop's favorite squad, the Los Angeles Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams are correct with the win over the Bengals. 23-20 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. Who won the year before that?
The team that won 4, 5, 6, 7.
I wish I was better at Roman numerals so I could just look at it and be like.
I have a very difficult time with that.
I can get
just
it.
use regular numbers.
Because it's a Roman numeral. You see,
it's an Italian game.
The founder of the NFL was Romulus, of Remus and Romulus, the founders of Rome, raised by wolves, and then founded a league for those that got that dog in them.
Luigi need the Roman numbers.
Please, Luigi don't like Arabic numerals.
Anyway, the
Luigi
team.
can't read.
Anyway, the team that won.
Mamma mia.
The team that won the Super Bowl before that was Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Right.
That is correct.
That is correct. Roman numeral. Now we're getting back. The team that won before the Buccaneers.
You're at 3, so this is for 4, Coop.
I thought this would be way easier, by the way.
And I will keep you. I'll keep you on a timer. Not that you haven't. This is not me saying you've taken too long yet. You've done a good job, but I will say too long if you take too long.
I was trying to answer when you guys were mumbling
Oh
about
no, no, Cooper tried to answer.
So yeah.
How Luigi end up in this time frame? He from ancient Rome. Luigi was just eating grapes being fed to him. Now Luigi, a stupid little brother.
Killing Caesar.
Chiefs. So I actually am not sure if I know the answer to this. Chiefs, Rams, Bucks. Was this? This is the Chiefs.
It was the Chiefs. It was the Chiefs. So that is 4. I need 3 more, Coop. So to recap what you've got in reverse chronological order, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Who was it before that?
Kansas City Chiefs. Before that, it was the that was the Eagles and the Philly Special beating the Patriots, right?
Coop.
2017.
I'm so sorry, but the Patriots won.
My own Patriots.
That's right. You missed it on your own Patriots, meaning JL is going to get 7 points for you.
So many points.
Doing that.
God damn it, dude.
I could not remember that either, Coop. I was sitting there going, Philadelphia, and I was like, Philadelphia was 2017. I'm pretty sure. I'm like, who was 2018?
It was the Patriots.
Maybe you were trying to protect Ani Coop because it was your team over her team. It was that Patriots Rams Super Bowl. 13.
Why don't I remember that year at all? Who was it?
13-3. Patriots Rams, yeah, and then the Eagles.
I
remember now. And it wasn't a good game. It was a total blowout.
It was a brutal game, yeah.
It was 13-3. I mean, it was a 10-point win, but it was.
Or it was just a boring game then. Yeah, that's what it was.
Can't believe I forgot the Patriots, dude.
The next couple, you had it right with the next one, Coop. The following one was the Philadelphia Eagles. And then the last one that you needed to get was the Patriots again over the
against
Falcons.
the Falcons. Yep.
Right.
Damn. All right.
So John Luke,
though.
that's going to earn you
gettable.
7 points right there. Jay came in with the chat with Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, Chiefs, Pats, Seahawks, Pats. So you were pretty close. It was Eagles, not Seahawks. Otherwise, you had it exactly right, Jay. Pretty nice job.
Pretty
Remembering
close.
the tricky Pats Rams one in there. Well, Jay, you're off to an early lead, 7-0 after that one. You get to go first on this next one. You ready for this next prompt?
Yep.
Okay. My next prompt for you is, how many digits of pi can you recite correctly? The 3 does not count. So this is after the decimal place. So we all know pi, 3.14. If you just said 14, that would be 2.
I'll go with 3.
3. Jail thinks he can name 3. Coop, how many you got?
Dude, if he said 2, I would have given it to him. Because I actually don't know. I don't even know what comes after 3.14. So go ahead, Jail. If you can name one more number, then you win.
I believe it's 141.
That is correct, Jail. You're going to get 3 points for that. Would you like to keep going and press your luck?
Do it.
I'll go 1 extra.
Okay.
And I will go with 5.
5 is correct, JL.
Another one.
3.1415. So that's going to be
after that.
That's going to be 5 points. That was double or nothing to get to that next one.
All
Do
right.
another one. Do one more.
No, I'm stopping.
You're stopping?
Yeah.
Okay, JL, that's going to give you 5 more points, bringing you to 12.
These games are
Scores now
always
12
blowouts, dude. It's always
to 0.
I
blowouts.
know this one is a blowout a lot.
Now I'm on
There's still
tilt.
time.
Now I need to go big.
There's still time. Hal in the chat said 3.14, 283. I like the confidence with which you came in here with that, Hal.
Not even close.
Completely wrong, but great try.
Nice job, JL, though. How often are you using pi these days?
All the time.
Every day?
I swear this came up. This was a Jeopardy question recently too. Our Jeopardy, fantasy Jeopardy.
Fantasy Jeopardy? Pi?
Mhm. It was something about finish the next digits of pi.
Also, Hal said I was drunk in geometry. When did you take geometry? I need to know what year that was. You know what? There were kids in my high school drunk in geometry as well. We're going to move on to our next round now. JL, you got the lead 12-0. Coop, you ready? You got the first bet on this one.
Very.
Okay. Similar to your first prompt, I want to know how many first overall draft picks can you name in reverse chronological order?
Jeez, dude. I don't know.
Wait, what was it, Simon?
How many first overall draft picks in the NFL draft can you name in reverse chronological order?
That's tough, man. Maybe 3.
3. Keep going with 3. John Luke, what about you?
3. I'll let Coop play.
Coop's going to play with 3. Okay, so starting with this most recent draft, the 2022 NFL draft, who was drafted first overall?
Dude, I honestly am having trouble. That's the real problem, is I'm having trouble remembering who it was that was drafted first overall this season.
I know the player, but the name is escaping me.
Yeah. It wasn't Hutchinson. It wasn't Kayvon Thibodeau, was it? It was the Jaguars.
You have your official answer.
It was the Jaguars took Walker.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Walker is correct, Coop. It is Trayvon Walker was the first overall pick.
Okay. And the year before that, it was Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence was the year before that. That's 2. You said 3, right?
Yeah, I said 3. The year before that, it was Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow was the year before that. So that's going to be 3 points your way, Coop.
Nice.
But if you want to keep going,
I'm
You
going to keep
can
going.
for bonus points.
I'm going to keep going because I do know that the year before that it was Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. So that's going to bring you up to 5 points for getting that one. Do you want to go again?
Do I want to go again?
Jay in the chat saying Brock Purdy was 1 overall, I think. So giving you some advice there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Either first or last. Is this Ricky Bobby rules where you can pick either first or whoever went first or last?
That is a funny game though, Ricky Bobby.
The only other last overall pick that I know though is Harrison Butker.
Wasn't Chad Kelly a last overall pick?
Was he
Mr. Irrelevant?
He was a Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Spy Kelly.
That's perfect. I think
the Denver Broncos.
Are you going to call it, Coop, or are you going to do another one?
So now we're getting back to 2022, 2021, 2020.
You've got Trayvon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray. That's what you have so far.
So now we're back to the 2018 draft, first overall.
What you got?
I have to. Is it Miles? I'm gonna go for it. It's Myles Garrett for the Browns.
Coop, you've just gifted JL.
Oh my God!
Points, no 7 more points because you went for it on that one. The Browns had the first overall pick 2 years in a row. They went Baker Mayfield that year, Myles Garrett the year before that. You had the team right. Coop, so close with JL. That's going to bring you to
so many points.
JL.
Agreed. Absolutely
0.
I told you. I said I was going to do it too. I was like, I'm on tilt, so I need to go big, right?
Hal had some guesses in the chat. Went with Thibodeau, and then also said Baker. Nice job guessing Baker down there.
Baker, yeah.
Saquon was after Baker, right? Baker was 1.
Saquon was not first.
But he was overall pick that year.
Second overall after Baker that year.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, to the Giants that same year, I believe so.
Myles Garrett was the year before. Well, Myles Garrett feels younger than a guy drafted in 2017, but yeah.
He's been around.
Yeah. If I had gotten that, no. No.
Okay. Right. Well, Joe, you got a big lead. You're up 19-0, but it's back to you for your next prompt. Are you ready?
Yeehaw. Let's go.
Okay, Punk, here is your next prompt. What I want to know is how many of the teams that have made the college football playoff can you name?
How many teams that made the college football playoffs of the 4 teams?
Okay, so how many teams that have made the college football playoff can you name? You know how they do it every year? So there's a couple different teams that have made it.
It hasn't been
there's like a bunch of teams that have made it over the course of its like 8-year existence. I'm saying how many teams that have ever made it can you name?
Oh, okay. That's confusing. I'll go with
What's confusing?
I'll go with 6.
6. Coop, you think you can name more than 6?
I'm trying to figure that out right now as I write down team names hastily. I think I can't just let him have 6. So I'm going to say 7.
Okay. JL, do you think you can name more than 7 teams that have ever made the college football playoff?
Yeah, I think I could name 10.
10?
All right.
Okay, Coop, you think?
Go ahead. You're more of a college guy than me. I'm going to let you do it. 10? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I will go with Alabama.
Alabama has made the college football playoff, JL.
It's a good pick. It's a good program.
Good program. How many did I say?
10.
Okay. I'll go with Georgia.
Georgia is correct. They have also made it.
I'll go Clemson.
The third choice, interesting, but that is correct. They have also made it.
The 3 best programs.
Ohio State has also made it, JL. That is 4 now.
Oklahoma
has made it. They can't seem to win it, but they've made it.
TCU.
Yep.
TCU has made it, JL. That is 6.
LSU
has made it. Beat Clemson for a national title. That is 7.
Ouchies.
Now we're getting to the tricky zone.
I have 2 more I know, and then I don't know anymore.
Okay. Let's go with Michigan.
Michigan has made it, JL. That is 8. You just need 2 more now.
That's one of the ones I knew.
I just need 2 more. Let's go with Notre Dame.
Notre Dame has made it, JL. That is 9. 1 more, and you will get these 10 points.
Those are all the ones I knew.
Making it pretty much unreachable for Coop here.
It was already pretty much there.
I guess there could be a big comeback round.
Oh, God, I don't know.
I wouldn't even know who to get. I couldn't even just throw a program against the wall. I think actually, if I had to, I would throw one, but like that was the extent of what I knew.
Didn't Jameis win it that year? I'm like going through all the years of our college career to think if Florida State was pretty good for a while. I'll go Florida State.
Florida State, JL, is on that list. That is 10. Going to earn you 10 more points, bringing you to 29. Do you want to keep going?
No, hell no. Hell no, I don't.
The ones you missed, on this list were Oregon.
I would have guessed
Oregon. I almost guessed, yeah.
Michigan State was next. Then Washington and Cincinnati were the other teams.
Cincinnati. That was semi-recently, right?
It was not this past one, but the one before that.
Right.
I never would have said Washington.
Washington.
When was Washington? A million guesses.
First one, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were in, or maybe the second one. I'm not sure, but it was one of the very early college football playoffs that Washington snuck in there.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought the number was much higher than. I didn't realize I was guessing towards the upper bound there.
You were flying pretty close to the sun there, dude.
Yeah.
With Washington and Cincinnati being the ones you didn't get, I wouldn't have got Florida State either. I actually probably would have. I would have guessed Penn State and been wrong. Is what I would have done next.
Penn State would have been a good guess. I didn't even get there. I was going. UT was one that I was circling around, or Tennessee.
They wish.
Yeah, I couldn't actually remember them being in. I'm just trying to think of good football teams.
Well, and if you've met their fans, you would think they've made it the last 15 years consecutively into the college football playoff, the way they talk about that program.
Texas fans?
Yeah, I should be careful saying that too loud. Living this close to Austin, they're going to start banging down my door.
If we were going by what fans are loudest during the offseason, it would be Texas or Texas A&M winning every year, right?
Yeah, probably Texas
Maybe
A&M, just because they've got about 450,000 people in that cult.
The Colts, yeah.
Screaming. Now, I didn't realize how crazy, how many traditions Texas A&M fans had and how seriously they take them until I moved to a place where there's lots of Texas A&M fans. But, dude, it's wild. When they say it's like a cult, they're not joking. Like, it's more than just like a go Tigers when you see people in public. Coop, I think you brought it up before, but they'll like you'll be in a bar and all of a sudden you see like 30 people take their rings off, throw it in a glass of beer, and then chug it with like metallic metal that's been dirty on their finger.
Pretty smart. How many Aggies swallow their rings by accident every year? I just opened the chat and I see Jay in the chat saying Duke. I don't know about that, dude.
Wrong sport, Jay.
Wow, Tim, Florida State and Oregon. Tim would have crushed this.
Wow.
Yeah, this has been a rough day for me and feeling lucky punk.
Well, Coop, we still got one more round. Maybe this one's yours to come back.
Don't go.
What do you think?
I think this is it for me. I'm feeling really confident. What do I need? 30 points?
You need 30 points to win, 29 to tie.
All right, let's do it.
Feel good about it?
Feeling great. Yeah.
Well, I need to know is how many of the top 10 wide receivers with the most receiving yards in a single Super Bowl game can you name? No repeat players, only their highest total counts.
In order or just from the list?
Just from the list. How many of the top 10 can you name? Single game Super Bowl wide receiver receiving yards performances.
I mean, the only way I could possibly win would be if like JL bid 2 and if I bid 3 and then I got a ton of bonus points, right? Because otherwise it's not impossible for me to win.
There's some math you could do there. It would be like, you could do like a little system of equations, but I'm not going to do that right now.
Yeah.
7 times 2 is 4. 9 times 2 is 8. No, you can't win. You can't win, but you can get a lot of points.
For fun.
Even if you got 2 points for everyone, you'd still only end up with 20.
Yeah, you're first.
I'm first?
You are first, Joe.
For bidding.
2.
Okay. Coop, how many do you think you can name?
And you might as well go 3.
Joe, you think you can name more than 3?
No.
Okay. Coop, take it away.
Okay. And these are the highest receiving yard totals from a Super Bowl game.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice is on the list, Coop. That is going to be 1.
He's where's he on the list, or can you not tell me?
He's top of the list with 215 receiving yards in a single game.
That sounds right. Let me get the game that Terrell Owens played with a broken leg and had like a monster game. Let me get Terrell Owens.
I'm sorry, Coop. Your game ends
Not
here.
on the
Terrell
list.
is not on the list.
Is Cooper Kupp on the list?
Cooper Kupp is not on the list.
Is Isaac Bruce on the list?
Isaac Bruce is number 3 on the list.
Yeah. Is Julio Jones on the list?
Julio Jones is not on the list.
So I would have lost with Julio. My next one was going to be Isaac Bruce, but then I would have lost with Julio anyway.
Jail Edelman is on the list, number 9 with 141. There's
so
2
many.
more Patriots on there, Coop. Can you guess who the other 2 Patriots are?
Yes, the
Randy Moss?
Patriots
Did he ever go
are.
to Super Bowl?
He did go to the Super Bowl. They lost
It's
to
not
the
him.
Giants, but he's not on the list. The Patriots that are on the list are Deion Branch. He's on the
Deion
list.
Branch is number 8 on the list with 143 receiving yards in that game.
And the other one is
Kendrick Bourne.
It is Kendrick
No.
Lamar.
Is it
That's cool. That'd be sweet.
is it top 10 all time? Is it is it from the 1985 Super Bowl versus the Bears, or is it a recent guy?
More recent.
Is
This
it
guy
Wes Wel-
recently.
Is it Wes Welker?
No, it is Danny Amendola.
Ah,
Number
080.
The 5th highest receiving yard total in a single game, if you take out duplicates, for Danny Amendola. 152 receiving yards. The other names on the list: Ricky Sanders, Lynn Swan, Andre Reed,
Lynn Swan.
Rod Smith, and Mushin Muhammad were the other names on that list. Coop, unfortunately, that is going to give 3 more points to your opponent, making the final score of this game 32-0.
Sounds about right for this game. This game is just getting bigger blowouts as we go, right?
How does that because it's not like he's only winning on the prompts thrown his way, right? And it's not like it's just one person dominating it every time. All of us,
Right.
I feel like, have been blown out in this game now.
I think it's the strategy we're taking. I think it's because the strategy is like when you get down, like our naive strategy is we have to go big. We have to keep pushing it, and then you end up giving more points to your opponent as opposed to playing it conservatively or like middle of the road to try and gain ground again.
You end up on tilt. That's what it is. And you just start throwing Hail Marys. So it's funny. And Jay, once again, somehow ended up behind again, Deion Branch, he says. So yeah, would have been right, Jay.
He says, I am not live. I am now, though. Nice job, Jay.
Nice joining us, Jay.
Absolutely killing it. Guys, coming up, we got another game we're going to play called Sell Me This Pen. Before we do that, though, I want to remind everyone that we are sponsored by our friends over at Lucra. If you download the Lucra app, you can create a contest and challenge your friends right now. Use the link right below my face here and use promo code BSN. You're going to get a free $10 to play with. You can bet up, down, the over, the under, all against your friends.
Hey, I think you owe me $5 on Lucra, Simon.
I think I do owe you $5. I'll go confirm that after this right here. John Luke, thanks for the reminder. Because we're going to sell some pens right after this, so stick around. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Before the year, I said the Eagles were going to win the NFC East. I don't know if you remember that. I am a Cowboys fan. I do hate the Eagles. But anyone who has listened to me over the years knows that I can be objective. So I tweeted out, has there ever been a team that has an easier path to the Super Bowl than Philadelphia? Of course, the Eagles fans got on me. And I wasn't really alluding to the regular season. I know the tweet could be taken that way. But when you look at this playoff path, they had a first-round bye. Then they beat the Giants, okay? But anyone who was being reasonable, especially with Jalen Hurts, knew the Giants were not in the class of Philadelphia. Then you get to the NFC Championship game where the quarterback got hurt early in the game. And then the 4th-string quarterback, Josh Johnson, leaves with a concussion. And then they couldn't pass the ball. That's your path to getting to the Super Bowl. It doesn't mean that I'm saying the Eagles suck. I never said that. People are so sensitive. Anyone who's listened to me all year, I have given this team props. But the fact is they had an easy path. And like, well, they destroyed both teams. They did. Now the 49ers are good. And then someone's like, oh, well, they beat your Cowboys. Who did I pick to win last week? San Francisco, right? I picked San Francisco to beat Dallas. I didn't want that to happen, but I'm analyzing the game. I despise the Yankees. Anyone who knows me knows that. I had every Yankee starting pitcher on a fantasy roster last year. Every one of them. This year, the Superflex draft that we did, an industry draft, I took Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Kadarius Toney. And people afterward, you a Giants fan? No, bro. I want to win. It doesn't matter what team they're on. I don't care. I want to win. Do I despise those teams? Yes. But I want to win. If I feel they're the best fit for my fantasy team, I'm going to draft them. If I feel a bet is going to win and I hate that team, I'm going to bet it. It's about winning. It's about helping people make money. We all have that little bias in us, no doubt. But I will say this, I'm being honest. I hope Philadelphia gets smoked in the Super Bowl, okay? I am rooting for Kansas City. My man Patrick Mahomes, my dad played for the Mets. But I will analyze the game objectively, okay? Because I want the Eagles to lose. That doesn't mean I'm picking Kansas City. I'm going to analyze the game because I'm going to look at it as if I'm putting my money down. So it has nothing to do with that. And I don't know why people automatically, oh, you're a Cowboys fan, this and that. Well, yeah, I see your stupid avatar that you're an Eagles fan. You're clearly biased. Can we just agree that the path was easy? It doesn't diminish that they're in the Super Bowl. I didn't say they suck. I didn't say they don't deserve to be there. I just said the path was easy, and I don't think that's factually incorrect. And I didn't mean it for the regular season. I know it could be interpreted that way. Did they have great wins? No, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They were 14-3. They beat everyone they're supposed to beat. You know, they lost 2 games without Jalen Hurts. It's not discrediting him.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get it's in the beans. What kind of beans are we in today, JL?
Frijoles.
Every day in the frijoles.
Achichi.
Are we in the frijoles by choice, or is it an eternal punishment of being stuck in the beans?
Oh God, no! It is not by choice. It's a blessing.
Really? We're in the month of frijoles. It goes January, frijoles, March, April.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it goes, Coop.
I totally understand what you're saying, and it's computing, and I get it.
Okay, so we're about to get into a game we call Sell Me This Pen. How this is going to work is all of us are going to take turns being given something they have to give a sales pitch on the spot. You're then responsible for convincing your fellow hosts here and everybody in the chat that what you're selling is worth buying. They got to pick up what you're throwing down. Otherwise, you have failed at your task selling this pen. You guys ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going first today? Who's selling first?
Simon, I think you're going first.
Woo!
Woo!
That sounds like how Wario gets excited about stuff.
Wario.
Yeah, I'll give the entire sales pitch as Wario. Except he only says wah, so be pretty bad.
All right, Simon.
Oh no.
Sell me on farting on an airplane.
There you go.
I think it's bizarre that we're even having this conversation about personal freedom in a time like this, right?
25th Amendment.
We live in a country that forces us to eat things that are beyond the natural diet of man. Most of the food we eat is processed and full of things that our body wasn't built to process. And evolution is a slow process. So the human body, it hasn't evolved to the point where it processes red dye 5, where it processes xylitol well, right? These are chemicals that are being put into our body that we aren't meant to produce. So of course, the natural outcome of that, the consequence of being force-fed processed foods is going to be flatulence. It's going to create a gassy populace. And now we also live in a large country one that doesn't have great public transportation systems set up. If we had a train, maybe there's a little bit more room. You could roll down the window. People aren't causing as big of a stink about farting. But because of the lack of public transport infrastructure getting you from one side of the nation, you have to take a plane. Combine that necessity to take the airplane with the forced diet that causes flatulence in the United States, and you are denying somebody of doing something that you're almost forcing them to do on an airplane. This isn't like even about an individual right to fart. This is about an oppressor forcing you to fart and then telling you can't do it. And if you're on the side of not allowing people to have the little bit of release they can from the system that's crushing their insides, their intestines, and their gastrointestinal system, then you're denying them happiness. You're denying them joy, and you're denying them personal freedom. Fart on airplanes.
Fart on airplanes, USA, USA, USA,
USA,
USA.
Joey, I like how Joey pointed out that Gassy Populace as a team name, but I kind of like the team name Right to Fart.
Right to fart. Great fantasy football team names. Well done, Simon. Can't cork me. Cannot cork me. I like that. I stand with you, brother.
I'm sold,
Can't
dude.
cork me.
I'm sold. Zach, I might be sold on the right to fart right on the show. I mean, it sounds honestly, it sounds, after your sales pitch, it sounds dangerous and un-American not to.
Right?
It does.
Do you hate it?
It's dangerously un-American
to not rip ass on an airplane. Like, come on. That's how you get put on a list, is if you get on an airplane and don't fart.
It's bad
You
for
didn't
you.
fart
Bad,
the whole time?
bad for you and bad for this country. Yeah.
You hear over the intercom, would the passenger in seat 32F please rip a juicy one? You have yet to fart the entire flight. I'm going to need you to make up for it with a big, wet, juicy fart. Unrelated, the seatbelt sign is now on, so you may not get up to wipe afterwards.
The pilots are up front. The pilot and the co-pilot up front, they're playing fart bingo with all the seats on the plane. And they're like,
Ding. Oop.
Ding.
C-32 just went off.
Oh, you sunk my battle shards.
One of the pilots knew I was going to be in there, and they've just got 6 32Es on there over and over and over again. You're allowed to put the same guy.
Simon, you're the free space in the middle.
100%.
Jay said they can take our lives, but they can never take our farts.
This is the King's Highway.
As a guy with Crohn's, I support this. We got Nick's support.
Shout out Nick
guys.
with credits.
Shout out.
You did it. Well done, Simon. Well done.
There we go. Well, John Luke, I want you to sell something next.
I'm running the game. I don't got to sell anything.
I'm
the one being sold to.
Did you just commandeer this game?
A temporary coup. I will relieve power after this, but I'm going to force you, in my slight reign as ruler, to do a sell me this pen.
I don't like it, but I respect it.
And I
But you'll do it.
Fighting over the auction gavel right now.
Well, JL, here's what I need you to do. I need you to sell me on Terry Bradshaw as your wedding officiant.
God.
Listen, you all have been to weddings.
A couple, yeah.
Do you ever remember the main ceremony? You remember what the officiant said? Half the time it's corny jokes. Half the time it's terrible. You can't hear them. The mic's messing up. It's like the brother of the bride's sister up there just doing the officiating, telling people, like, trying to make inside jokes to the group. They've never public spoken before. They don't know how to do it. They're not comedians, yet they think they are. Instead, allow me to paint this picture for you. Terry Bradshaw, in between you and your love, with his nice suit, a little bit snug, but he just tells you, hey, groom, waddle over here, big guy. See, he injects the humor in. That's Terry Bradshaw. He's going to have that whole crowd rolling because they're not going to understand a thing he says. Terry Bradshaw is your next officiant. Let's go. I already hired him for my wedding in October. We're good to go.
I have one question, Joe, because like I'm imagining it now. As soon as he says waddle on over, big guy, it's gonna break the tension in the room. Any tension going on, you're not gonna feel it anymore.
Yes.
But as a Ravens fan, are you worried about in Baltimore having Terry Bradshaw, Steelers legend, as your wedding officiant? Are you worried about the backlash at all?
Ooh, good question. Yes, I am.
It's a plus. It's a perk, not a.
Yes, I'm making a statement. This is all for a statement. Baltimore, you need to know. Terry Bradshaw, he's an all right guy.
Is it the hat?
It's the hat, yeah. It's the
Definitely. He would say,
we really don't like
you can
this
now
guy here.
you can now kiss the bride, and then he throws the scally cap up in the air.
He's on the dance floor.
Everybody in the crowd also having scally caps, and you throw them all up like it's graduation.
I don't know why, but I picture him getting carried away and kissing the groom. Like he just gets really excited. You may now kiss the, and he's just in a moment of like pure excitement of
He
like
tries
what's
to
going
meet
on.
you for a try kiss in the middle.
Yeah, you guys lean in, and here's Terry just.
That's
Love
Joe
you
Namath.
guys.
That's Joe Namath's move, right? Remember when he tried to kiss Susie Colbert? Or
I do not remember that.
Oh, you
No.
don't? One time he was hammered on the field for some reason after the game, and they were like interviewing him, and he was like, he literally goes, "I just want to kiss you right now." Like, oh,
Ooh.
dude, so good, bro, so good.
That's creepy, Joe. That's creepy, Joe. Well, JL, good job. You convinced me. Terry Bradshaw should be everybody's wedding officiant.
Nice.
So Adam in the chat saying Ravenclaw greater than Slytherin. I wonder what Terry Bradshaw is. Probably neither. That dude's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
yellow.
Hufflepuff sounds about right.
It all checks out. He
The
wears
yellow,
that cap thinking
yeah.
it makes him look fancy. He's got the yellow. It's Hufflepuff for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
All right, Coop, you're next.
Oh, I have to go. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Coop, sell me on Aaron Rodgers as my life coach. Sell me on hiring Aaron Rodgers as my life coach.
Aaron Rodgers as your life coach. Look, here's the thing about modern society and society in general. Like, they're always forcing you to want to do these certain roles. Lawyers, doctors. The world is filled with doctors, modern doctors. You get on the phone book, you can find them online. They're all over the place. You know what the world doesn't have enough of? Shamans. You need more shamans to guide you through life on your spiritual journey. And are you going to trust a shaman that hasn't eaten a bunch of peyote with Miles Teller on an island somewhere? Are you going to trust a shaman who hasn't gone on an ayahuasca retreat with his entire offensive line and potentially caused half of them to lose their minds? Are you going to trust a shaman who hasn't locked himself into a dark house for 4 days straight, just eating, Cheetos and thinking about whether or not he wants to play football? Like, how are you going to make these decisions for yourself if you don't have somebody that's put their mind through that type of personal trauma, who hasn't listened to probably way too much of Joe Rogan's podcast? Like, if you don't have that as part of your life, where are you going to get that perspective from? You have plenty of smart people to tell you things you should and shouldn't do. You have plenty of people that have degrees in science and in healthcare. What you really need is somebody with that personal experience that has the wisdom that comes with just being a high-paid athlete and not really seeing the real world at any point. So I think Aaron Rodgers as your personal life coach can really take you to a place that you've never been and have thoughts that literally no one else could possibly have. So Aaron Rodgers, you need him in your life, and you need him in your life now.
Coop, just incredible to sale right there. I like the rarity of finding a middle-aged white man who does drugs and thinks he's smarter because of it is just absurd. Like, where could I ever find another like 30 to 40-year-old white guy that did psychedelics 3 times and thinks he's better than everyone else?
But that's also won a Super Bowl. It's
Right.
kind of cool.
Right? It's working.
If nothing else, then for at least the novelty of it.
Right. Exactly. It's like if you took just any old guy from Burning Man, but he had won a Super Bowl. But he had won a Super Bowl.
Give him a Super Bowl ring and a couple $1 million.
Then you would have that. So yeah, it's a real difference maker.
You got my mom convinced in the chat. She says agree. And Al, yep, you got better, Al.
Then
Agreeing with a flex in the
strong
chat.
arms, Al, baby. Strong arm of Al. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, dude. You got to have that kind of guy in your life. Otherwise, how are you going to be super weird?
So, like, let's say I hire Aaron Rodgers. what's the first thing he does to help me get my life on track? Like, is there like an introductory exercise or something that we do
he
together?
tells you to forget everything you've ever learned.
I imagine he has you over to his house and you think that it's like a meeting to like decide if you want to do it, but like, you know,
It's
you're
not
sitting
his
there.
house.
He's like, do you want anything to drink or eat? And then like within 2 seconds, he's like, what? Everything you just ate and drank was drugs.
Your fault.
And it's
My
already
senior-
begun. Your journey begins today.
In high school, we had to do a senior project where we had a mentor, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for mine. And I was considering athletic nutrition because my friend's dad was like a nutritionist for the Olympic wrestling team at one point. I was like, that'll be cool. And we were going to meet up and have an introductory meeting like you're talking about, where you have to do like shadow hours with this guy. But I was just going to talk to him, hear what he had to say. He's like, hey, meet me at Kennesaw Mountain, which is a mountain near where I show up. And again, Coop, I show up like you're saying to Aaron Rodgers thinking we're just going to like talk about what the project would be about. I pull up and he pulls a 50-pound vest out of his car, puts it over my head and says, I'll meet you at the top of the mountain. We'll meet there. It just takes off. Just takes off. This dude's like 50 years old and he sprints. He beats me probably by a good 20 minutes. And I'm like, like dying, trying to get out. I'm like, I thought we were just hanging out, man.
No hanging
I just
out.
imagine that you're like interviewing with Aaron Rodgers just to see if you're gonna hire him as your life coach, and you're like, all right, when do we start? And he's like, we started an hour ago. There were drugs in your drink.
I'm reading this book right now about it's like this investigative journalist's digging into the Manson cases. It's called Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. But he talks about interviewing this one guy on the phone. He's like, this guy, he told me he did so much LSD, and this is a direct quote, with Charles Manson. He said, my thoughts are now your thoughts, and your thoughts are my thoughts. Everything I say, you're saying to me, and everything you say, I'm saying to you. And he was like, so not the best resource in my investigative journalism.
Manson.
But that's how
you talk to people, Manson.
That's how Aaron Rodgers worked.
That sounds pretty bad.
That's talking to Aaron Rodgers right there. Craig's gonna let Scampers officiate his wedding.
Oh, I would let Scampers officiate anything.
Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow.
Luckily, that's not my call.
Scamp. You little rascal.
You little rascal. All right. You guys want to go for another sell me round?
Let's sell some more stuff.
All right. Who went first again? Simon. All right, Simon. Sell me on switching my NFL team allegiance.
Would you like this towards a specific team or in general?
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice?
No.
Okay.
No, let me pick.
No, absolutely not. No, the jail said dealers. I've already started forming the argument.
Go ahead.
Okay. Joe, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What team did you grow up being a fan of? Washington, right? And what led you to leave that team?
I guess a mix between Washington and Ravens. But what led me to it is my brothers were big Washington fans. Grew up in between DC and Baltimore. So people were split.
But at a certain point, cheering for that team, there were enough factors that caused you to stop having fun, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you would say that fun was an instrumental factor in switching your team allegiance, right?
I'd say part of it was fun.
Yeah, I know it's not everything, but part of it is even the bad things that were going on with the Washington franchise, with Dan Snyder. The end result was a lack of fun that you were having while watching that team. So I posit the number one criteria when picking your team should be fun. What's going to be the most fun for you to cheer for? What are you going to have the most fun doing? And John Luke, I'm looking at this NFL and the world is your oyster. There are so many teams you could have fun cheering for. And don't get me wrong, you're on a fun team now. Lamar Jackson, so much fun to cheer for. The Ravens consistently keep those games close, but you are in a high risk, high reward situation. You may be at the peak value for the fun for the Ravens for the foreseeable future. If Lamar Jackson walks, if they don't get him more receiving weapons, if he never reaches that pinnacle that he was at previously. Luckily for you, there are a couple teams waiting in the wings that you could switch your allegiance to. I also know you attended Clemson University.
I did.
Consider yourself a big Clemson Tiger fan, right?
Yeah, that's true. How'd you know that?
And you cheer for guys, I don't know, hypothetically, like Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne while you were in college.
Love those guys. Yeah, love them.
Love both of them, right? Well, I've got great news. They are on the same team in Jacksonville, Florida, that is on the rise with the new head coach, made the playoffs a year after having the number 1 overall pick.
Do they have a number 1 wide receiver?
They've got Christian Kirk that they signed this year and coming back.
So yes.
Everyone loves a comeback story, right?
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley is coming back into the NFL, and you and him have something in common. You both like to sports bet. So there's another player that you already have something in common with on this team. You got your Clemson Tigers. You got the $20 million man that everybody doubted in Christian Kirk that he came forward. You got the tight end in Evan Ingram that hopefully they're going to bring back, Coop's favorite player. So you got a little bit in common with Coop there. Whenever you get to go watch them play, you don't have to worry about like traffic because Jacksonville's big and boring. So you get to just drive straight up to the stadium in the sun to go watch them play. I think you should switch your allegiance to be a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
Can I swim in the pool?
You can swim in the pool every day.
Yes, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah.
Something tells me that if you had probably just said at the very beginning that he could swim in the pool, then you probably would have sold him right then.
I could have made it much shorter.
if you had just said there's a team that has a pool at the stadium.
Scamper said Panthers and Jags, come on over.
That's right, dude.
You can swim in that pool anytime. My backup team, in case you said no to that one, Jail, I was going to pitch you on the Lions, but I figured we'd start with the Jaguars. The Lions were a good backup team to pitch you on.
They really are. Now that I think of it, there are a lot of cat teams.
Cats, Lions, Jaguars, Panthers, Seahawks.
There's a lot of bird teams too. Are there more bird teams or cat teams?
Birds. I don't know for sure. Eagles, Seahawks,
we should run that.
Cardinals.
We should crunch the numbers.
Eagles, Seahawks, Cardinals, Falcons, Ravens. That's 5.
Packers.
That's 6. But, so, like for
the
cat,
Jets are kind of like a bird,
kind of metal bird. But for cat teams, you have the Lions, the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Bengals. Is that it?
There's all your cats, I think.
Oh man, so it looks like the birds outweigh the cats here.
Well, John Luke, are you ready to sell me on something else now?
Yep.
Here's your next prompt. You just switched team allegiances. I need you to sell me on the Jaguars reverting back to the worst team in the league next year.
Curveball.
I could do that. I can do
also,
that.
welcome back in, KC. Thanks for popping back in.
Welcome back, NKC.
He said, sorry, I'm back. But I'm still talking all caps.
Yeah.
That's okay. As an Eagles fan, you get a couple days of all caps.
Eagles will be good forever.
Maybe you should have switched to them then. That's a pretty good sales pitch.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right. The Jaguars reverting back to the worst team in the NFL is virtually guaranteed. Because this team is almost entirely reliant on the horseman that is Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence is good. Don't get me wrong. But is he really even human? Do we know whether Trevor Lawrence can be tamed, domesticated? I mean, it feels like he's a man of his own stature. He's going to do what he wants to do. And if that's play football, that's play football. But I don't know that he's that reliable. I don't know that we can break him in. So I think that the Jaguars are going to really struggle. I don't even know who the backup in Jacksonville is. That's terrible. They don't have Gardner Minshew anymore. What are they going to do? Trevor Lawrence is going to break his leg. Travis Etienne then's going to break his leg. Christian Kirk, they're all going to break their legs. That's what happens. Don't go Jacksonville.
Dale, just to recap, your argument is Trevor Lawrence is unreliable and might not play football, but if he does, him and all of his teammates will break their legs.
Guaranteed.
Damn,
Guaranteed.
That's pretty rough guarantee.
Damn.
Now, if that happens now, dude, somebody come back and clip this, and you're gonna be in trouble.
James said they fired Doug Peterson for Urban Meyer. That's how they
bring him back.
Like, you know what? We were a little too hasty there. Maybe we jumped the gun. Let's give Urban Meyer.
Calvin Ridley comes back and he convinces the entire organization to start placing sports bets and gets them all suspended. That's also a way better argument.
Scamper said, whoa, JL. You cannot say that.
Can't say it.
And NKC saying he's a 7 out of 10 passer, but a 1 out of 10 runner. I think you're underestimating his running a little bit. running ability a little bit. He's not a Justin Fields or a Lamar Jackson or even a Josh Allen, but
he's a solid 6 or 7. I'd put him at.
Put him at 5 or 6. Yeah, he's above average.
Also, you mentioned that you don't know who their backup quarterback is. I just started a off-season series where I'm going through every single team before free agency hits and looking at the contracts, looking at what's going on. The Jaguars got kind of an interesting backup situation. They signed 2 guys to reserve contracts to kind of fight for that job if they're going to go with a younger squad. They signed EJ Perry, who is a guy who played for Florida, and then they signed another guy, Nathan Rourke, who was playing in the CFL and was kind of crushing it over there. Now he's taking a little futures contract to see if he can make the team. They also could potentially just bring back the backup they had last year, which is our buddy CJ Beathard. So,
Beathard.
Yes. So they might just bring Beathard back. I think it looks like they're having a competition to see if they can get kind of a young guy on the squad. And then if, worst case scenario, maybe they just bring Beathard back. But that's what's going on over there. And if you want to check out that series, it's over on fantasyalarm.com right now. Dropping another article today and probably going to do one every day from now until free agency. So check it out, fantasyalarm.com. Andrew Cooper.
All right, Coop, we got one more Sell Me This Pen.
I just sold everybody on I actually just did mine. It was sell everyone on going to fantasyalarm.com and reading the free off-season Dynasty free agency preview series written.
Did you sell you, Simon?
Yeah, but I think he needs to sell me something else as well.
Come on.
Real quickly. You got a couple minutes. You can sell me on something.
I'll sell you one more thing. Go.
All right. Sell me on firing Coop and replacing him with a potted plant.
Now, here's the thing about Coop that we all know. Like, we all know this guy, incredibly attractive. We all know that he's got a soothing voice. We all know that he's borderline genius, which is usually you don't find geniuses that are this handsome. That's like the rub. Everyone knows that. You know that he was nominated by the FSWA to be the 2021 Writer of the Year. JJ Zacharyson won. Probably should have been Coop, right? Like, everyone knows that. They talk about it all the time. You can't go in the grocery store without people whispering like, "Oh my God, handsome, smart." Football.
What's that smell?
What's that smell?
His
Smells
penis
great.
is so big.
Smells great. Big penis. You know what I mean? Like, just the normal things that run in the mill is you're going to floating around, right? Like, everyone knows that about Coop. But here's the thing. Potted plant, megastar. He's an up-and-comer. He hasn't been overexposed in this space by having all these free agency preview series over on fantasyalarm.com, another website that's been nominated for multiple awards, home to guys like Howard Bender, absolute megastars. Obviously, also smells very good and very handsome, probably has a large dong as well. Like, the thing is, potted plant, Sir Plant specifically, he's up and coming. It's like, do you want to, hitch your wagons to Coop, who's basically like Christian McCaffrey, but, he's, getting up there, probably has like a ton more elite years left? Or do you want to grab Bijan Robinson, right? In this potted plant that who knows what it could be? Like, could it be as cool as Coop? I don't know, probably not. But the upside of the unknown of that mystery box, beautiful thing.
Photosynthesis.
So I would go, yeah. I mean, have you ever seen Coop do photosynthesis? Right? Not one time.
He wishes.
Dude. Yeah, dude doesn't have an ounce of chlorophyll in his body. So
not a single one.
I think that we should honestly fire Coop. Go with potted plant. Go with Sir Plant. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Coop.
Coop, I am on an unrelated note. Tomorrow there will be a plant in your seat instead. So be prepared for that. Guys, everyone congratulate Coop on his last show before being replaced by a potted plant. We'll be back tomorrow from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for some more Front Yard Fantasy show. Front Yard Fantasy morning show. So come hang out with us bright and early every day this week. Up next, we got Moose and Keith, then Lunch Money. And Coop's going to be on with our friends Fensty and Ronis on the Fantasy Alarm show later today. Until tomorrow, adios, everyone. We will see you bright and early then.